All right, First Smoke family, we got Doja Draco for you guys, straight out of Austin, Texas. We shot this episode while we were on the Texas tour. Shout out to all the Texans, man. We appreciate all the good barbecue. This guy's got a cool journey and definitely one not to miss. And you already know, if you haven't yet, get on fsotd.com, firstsmokeoftheday.com. Make sure you go check out the tiers we got to offer. We're giving the website a facelift. If it's not already enacted, it will be soon. Check out the tiers. Shout out to the Tier 3 gang. We appreciate you guys. You can get your brand name or your name strolled in the credits at the end of this podcast and every other podcast we do by being a part of the Tier 3 gang. We appreciate you guys. Also, shout out to Dr. Dabber, drdabber.com. If you want to get the latest code for Dr. Dabber, go on that sponsor tab right there on fsotd.com and check out what the code is. Go get an Access, go get an Evo, whatever it is you like from Dr. Dabber, they're gonna take care of you. Tell them you're with the family.
Not only can you get hooked up with Dr. Dabber, but also Grow Generation and Drip Hydro. If you're a grower, if you're a hustler, if you're a trapper, they have everything from vacuum seal bags to nutrients to carbon filters, everything imaginable, every nutrient line, the lights, mediums, everything. GrowGeneration.com, in store or online, but the only way to get hooked up is go to fsotd.com and get the newest code. You gotta get on the site. It's free, it's easy, and it gets you hooked up. It's the same with Drip Hydro. If you're not happy with your nutrient company, or you just wanna try something different, or you wanna do side-by-sides, try Drip Hydro. You get hooked up, all you gotta do is go to fsotd.com, super simple, get hooked up strictly with Drip.
Everything smokes better in Texas. Without any further ado, got my man Draco. Let's go. What's good, everybody? We're back with another one's First Smoke of the Day. It's your boy Pat Guys in the building here with my co-host Blackleaf.
Smoking.
What you guys got going on? Because we know you guys are repping Doja, and you're also growers as well.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So basically, it started pre-Doja. I was just you're running the mill trapper out over here, moving flour on a big basis. I got out of prison, Texas State Penitentiary, in 2018. When I got out, the cannabis industry was actually like really booming. I did a few years in there. So before I went in, the cannabis wasn't really that big over here. Of course, people moved it. There's always like a presence out here for it. But as far as like quality goes, it wasn't really out here like that. Dudes going back and forth to Cali, it wasn't really happening like on the scale that we see today. When I got out in 2018, it had taken off. And as our relationship started to like grow and flourish, I was like, okay, man, like I want to start getting in this growing thing too. So, he has enough knowledge and he's a dirt nerd himself. Like
I'm a weed nerd for sure.
Yeah,
I'm stoner for sure.
He has really good ways.
I'm picky.
He has. We have a really good relationship going on, man. I feel like we're polar opposites as far as like taste and what we like doing, but like the friendship, the brotherhood that we got going on, the partnership is just like been very easy for me on my end because it's just like I leave him to do his thing over there. He helps me manage the shit that I'm growing back at my spot. And we have something really good going on. So we've been doing that. Our quality started to raise up as the experience grew. So
it's only been about probably 3 years.
Yeah, it's only been about 3 years. And then probably within the last like year or so, in the last, I would say about 3 or 4 batches, the demand on it grew to like the 50 states really quickly. That came quickly. That came unexpectedly. Because I'm out over here in Texas. It's kind of like the same stigma that like I feel like when you say you got Oklahoma weed or something like that. You know what I mean? Not saying like talking mess about Oklahoma growers. I know a lot of good growers, but the customers as a whole kind of seem like they have like this the stigma toward it. But people like us and other dudes I know out here in the South that are doing their thing, we're taking that stigma away. We're showing you that boutique flower can come from anybody that has the passion of the plant, like Burke or I do, or anybody from the Doja side. And going on with the Doja side, as I started to do my thing over here, I ended up linking up with my boy EK, my motherfucking brother. Like EK has, I'm sure y'all guys met him, and he has like one of the best energies in the game ever, man. Like we're about the same age. We have a lot of the same like interests and stuff like that. So we clicked, pretty fast, but his passion for the flower is what really like, I was like, man, I really want to like work with these guys. And then eventually I met Ryan. Ryan figured out I was from Texas. He had been out from, he had lived in Texas for a while himself. And he wanted to start coming out to events. And South by Southwest was like right there around the corner. I was like, bro, pull up to South by Southwest. He did. We had a pop-up that I brought him through, and it was just a really good success. We had a really good time. Product was moving, all that good stuff. And then he started coming out here more. Every time he came out, he hit me up, and I'd go pick him up, make sure he was good out over here. And we done a lot out here in Texas together. So I just felt like the whole passion of weed that they got going on is just something completely different that stands out from a lot of different brands out there. I worked with a lot of different brands, but nobody like Doja. The whole team as a whole was like focused on the genetics part, because the most important part of like the cannabis industry, in my opinion at least, is the breeding. The breeders are some of the most important people, the ones who are putting out the genetics and like making sure that finished product is done to like the absolute best. Nobody doesn't like Doja on a commercial level, at least. I'm sure there's people out there that would argue, their side, but to the level that they're doing that, it's global, and the demand is there and the supply is there. So, I mean, it was easy for me to align myself with somebody who had in a group of people that had the same views as myself. And, that's what we've been working at, man, ever since. Ryan's, I bought a lot of genetics off him. He's gifted me a lot of genetics. So yeah, man, that's where the whole Doja relationship came in. And I continue to work with these dudes like Burke and Ryan and EK and the whole gangs, because these dudes have the same passion that I do, but they're on their own time. So I get to learn a lot from them. And then we get to have a good relationship. We get to, build this whole bridge together.
I will give Doja credit for doing that, always bringing different varieties and selections, and then empowering people that he sees potential with, he sees a future with, and then showcasing it as well. Absolutely. He'll come out, he'll try it, he'll post about it, he'll be talking about it, and he'll tell all the players about it, which does a lot. It does a lot for multiple parts of the game. So it's cool you guys are creating an ecosystem that everybody can eat off of, everybody can thrive, and it's a constant elevation.
Yeah.
People like to say, oh, he's not a grower, or he's not this, that. You can't play every position on the field.
He's a quarterback.
So
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, you can't play every position on the field. He's got some of the best growers and breeders in the game working just strictly on shit that he's putting in their hands, So they're putting that priority number one, even over some of their own shit most of the time, which is impressive, So not a lot of people could get in there and convince these types of guys to do that type of shit, and then him go out and empower people in multiple markets, multiple areas, from small to big, and be kind of everywhere all at once and create this omnipresence of a global movement. And he's one of the first to be able to do this, obviously, alongside with guys like Burner and these other guys that have pioneered and trailblazed, created their own lane and own position in this game, and opened up the market to where more people can get involved and more people can also aspire to have a position similar like that. So shout out to you guys, and shout out to them for making that possible in this game, because that's what it's going to take to continue to evolve the cannabis scene and cannabis industry, especially for how we know it, and how we see it, and how we can all be involved in it, no matter where you're at, where you're coming from, whether it's fucking Europe, US, wherever the hell. It's cool, really, really cool to see the seeds spread, the genetics get new places, and then real operators and real trappers and real people in the game all take their position and play at that high level, 100%. Representing it. So it's dope as hell to see.
No, 100%. I mean, like you said, when you see these genetics spread all over the world, I feel like that's what a lot of growers are missing. You know what I mean? I feel like that's what states like Oklahoma are missing. It's not even so much as the grower; it's the genetics. You know what I mean? Like when you get you get a list of strains that are all old school strains that weren't really like the best back then. I mean, not many people are going to want to, shop on that. And we got to like look out for the community because they're the ones that like, just as important the breeder is, the shopper is also just as important. Everything else kind of like works in itself in between, but without the breeder and without the shopper telling you what is good and, fueling that part, I just feel like, you're going to miss out on a lot. You're not going to really be the brand that you really could be. So shout out to the homies, Ryan, EK, the whole Doja gang in Cali and across the world for, staying on their toes and making sure that they're not staying complacent. You know what I mean? Because I feel like that's one of the biggest things that you see from a brand is they get to a certain point and they see that they're making money and they don't really change their model up. They're just putting out all these different Mylars and it just kind of gets boring after a while. Like I said, out here especially, customers are not idiots. You know what I mean? You could try to re-rock a pack, they'll fucking know. You bring in the same 5 LCGs on a brand that are scattered through different bags, they're gonna know.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
They'll get tired of it.
They get tired of it real quick, and then your business affects with it as well. So it's just, you got to keep with the times, man. Especially right now, it's so it's so much changing all the freaking time. So many fads are coming out like the hash hole craze now. If you don't have a good roller and putting out hash holes, are you really making it? Are you really a fucking brand right now? Right? It feels like that. So, I mean, I don't, and the whole solventless game's coming up too. So, I mean, as cannabis grows and its legality across the world, not even just America, like the world, there's more places in the world starting to accept this. We're gonna see like the competition ramp up, the prices go down. It's going to be a very cutthroat business. I feel like it's going to go back to how it was in the old days, only it's going to be a lot more public now because now you have social media, licensing, just so many eyes on you. So it's going to be, people are going to have to move differently. You're going to have to grow differently. And that's why it's really good to like have a good team around you and people that are willing to hold it down in a certain area, make sure that, they're heralding your influence just as much as you are. You know what I mean? That's what kind of brought the value to me myself with working with Doja was that like a lot of people associate with me with them now. And one of the things that I try to do to not just like get shadowed by the name is to show where I bring value to it as well. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm just a cheerleader holding up a sign. I'm a player. You know what I mean? Like we got the genetics coming in our hands. We're finding cuts, trying to get some back to Big Bro and get everything right the way it needs to get done, just like all the other homies that are doing out in New York, like Mechanic Farms and stuff. Like shout out to the guys out there. Everybody's doing their thing, man. Everywhere that I've gone the last couple of months, out in Boston and New York, with the EK touring out there, it was like, wow, this is a full blown thing right now. Not just in Texas, where I thought it was growing really, really big and really, really fast, but also all over America. And you see Ryan's opening up the social club in Spain. That's crazy, man. Like that's wild. Like what a time to be alive.
Yeah,
it's good. I like it. It's a good market to be in. I'm glad. I've always been passionate about it ever since I started smoking when I was a little kid. I always wanted to smoke good weed. In Texas, it was Reggie back in the day. I don't know if y'all guys ever had to deal with Reggie. Y'all said y'all from Central Florida, so maybe perhaps
I didn't really have to deal with it much.
Yeah,
because I'm a little younger.
Yeah, so. A little bit younger, but now like I'm about to be 30, and I would say like my generation was probably like the last generation that kind of
especially being in Texas. I mean, it's coming across the border. It's right here.
Well, that's why I tell people like a lot of the times that Reggie we were smoking was like pesticide sprayed, like a year at least old. All that stuff, man. It wasn't the really good stuff.
Molded up,
and we thought like that was good enough back then. And then I just goes to my whole theory that you're going to smoke whatever you smoke, what's in front of you, and that's going to be good enough for you until the next step comes along, and you're like, oh wow, and you start opening your eyes, and you start seeing more and more, and before you know it, you're like me. Like I will literally not smoke something that's like harsh, burning black, or just just not good at all. It's like I smoke so much weed, it feels like a job now. You know what I mean? You got to like, there's so much stuff we're figuring out as time goes on, like the health problems. You're hearing like heavy metals and certain strain. Like, what the hell is with that? What's up with that? And I mean, I know on our side, we're doing all organic.
We're trying to do it as clean as possible.
Yeah,
organic practices, all of that.
We're doing small batch, and we try to set it to like the standard that like Nemo set it at, because I feel like North Cal Nemo was the person who really started to like capitalize on that whole small batch market. And to me, like that's the standard, because that's what everybody thinks when they get small batch. I want living soil, organic, or any sort of organic, 100% natural, clean, bones burn white, terps are there, potency's there. They want weed like how it used to be back in the day. They want that sticky icky, you know what I mean? And that's what we try to bring to our people. And I think that's where our market's at right now. It just kind of like, it was very apparent. It's like, okay, if it's not going to be good, I'm not going to put it out. We'll take an L on that grow. And thankfully, we only had to do that a few times.
Damn, bro, you got a dab everywhere we go.
It's discreet, it's portable, nobody knows.
DrDabber.com. Use the code, get your access now.
It was a learning fail though, because we lost a couple grows to mold, and then we lost one to like a spider mite, and then fungus gnat infestation. And you know, we learned from it and we fixed it. So
where you get genetics from is a big part of it.
Yes,
like when those genetics are hurt and trying to bring them out, or if they carry bugs, that's a big part. And that's why a lot of new growers will start from seed. And it's dope to see you guys having genetics that, I mean, we're barely seeing touchdown in Cali.
And they're definitely, the genetics we've been getting, they're finicky. I'm not gonna lie, they're very finicky. And we've had quite a bit of herm problems with them. That's the main issue that we've been having lately. But
Skittles, any crossed into anything that's heavy Z is going to be very difficult to grow. And then now there's a lot of strains that are almost like the genetics are inbred. So yeah, it's definitely we're in an interesting place in cannabis right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've noticed almost everything that we've popped from Seed Junkie so far, like the Doja collabs, have always just been like crazy. Like they're hard too. They're a little bit finicky, but like that, the outcome is like,
I think we're
so important.
It,
like when you see like we've grown autos.
We're growing it to the best of the ability that strain is probably going to be grown.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I have a couple strains up here from the Smoke Strong stride. The one on the left over here, this more purple one, that's a Mendo Caviar that was bred here in Austin from some homies on Kitchen Hawk Genetics and Pirates of the Third Coast. Shout out to my boys. They collabed that. They're both from here. It's like, you know, it's Mendo, it's Trop. It's a strain that like, it's a phenotype that I like to say that people don't really favor as much, but it's like all terps are important. Not a lot of people I feel like that Tropicana terp profile. You hear a lot of people kind of like, you know, talk mess about it, but when it's done right to something like that, you know, that
was my least favorite out of the four strains.
This reminds me of old perps. We used to get back in the day, like the deep old perps.
Exactly.
When I say old perps, I mean like vintage, not like old flower. And this is
what's this one right here?
That's the permanent marker BX1.
This is pretty potent
I
weed.
can smell it.
Well,
Strong wise, like strength wise,
Mm-hmm.
you can almost smell it in it. That it's like a strong smoke.
It hit you in the eyeballs like that old school sativa. You know what I mean? It's it's fire, and that was like probably like our least favorite from the room that we had, just because it was like the terp profile. It's like that Trop. It's like one of those things that not a lot of people like, but then when you smoke it, you're like, dang, like this actually doesn't taste that bad.
I'll take this over Trop.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
everyone has a different palate, because I gifted my homie an eighth of the permanent and then an eighth of that, and he said, "I want the purple stuff."
Yeah,
yeah. The permanent.
This almost reminds me of purple piff.
It's crazy, right? It's like that permanent
Like
marker, but just like a different, sherb too.
Doesn't this have a little bit of haze?
And we had some phenos.
I feel that it
definitely is like a purple real haze.
That's what I was thinking too. I can't remember what my boys like broke it down to. I think at the end of the day, it came down to my boy at Pirates of the Third Coast. He had his cut of Mendo Breath 15, and then my boy had his own purple caviar. That was like 100% his genetics that he hunted and created. He's a legacy grower, Kitchen Hawks Genetics. This one of my homies, and he's taught me a lot. Both of my homies here in Austin that been growing for quite a bit, a long time. They've, were able to help me and Burke out a lot through getting started. Like as far as like getting over some of the humps, like the powdery mildew, or like like if you see herming starting to happen, how do you fix it? And like
because there is a way to fix it.
Yeah, there is a way, and we've done that last couple times, and that makes sure that like, and it's all
hormonal spray.
Yes.
Yeah. There's it's
what's the CB?
That's so I didn't get labels yet because I got it so quick. No, for real, like with the event, I was like, they just dropped Cherry Biscotti is what it is. It's Biscotti crossed with Runts. They had just dropped it like the day before the Houston one, and I was like, I sent one of my boys out there to go grab it. I was like, I need this for the Houston event. I need and then they made it happen. They didn't have the label, so it was like, it's all good. I'll just, everybody knows. If I put it in a sandwich bag, they'll know it's real Doja.
The purple one, the deep purple color, what do you call that again?
Mendo Caviar.
Mendo
It was
Caviar.
Mendo Breath 15 to Purple Caviar.
Interesting.
And that's like an Austin original genetic. So I was really excited to run it because it was like an Austin original genetic. Like you cannot get it. You cannot get this strain unless you're getting it from me or two other people. And on top of that, like that's one of the big selling points we have with the flower we grow on small batch levels, that either him or I touch it. Not both of us. It's either him or I. So only one person's touching your flower by the time you get in it. And we're super
and just
careful.
doing that practice, the trichomes just stay intact way better. And it's just,
we go in mire and
it's
jars
like from
typically.
farm to customer. There's,
There's no like
there's no
transfer.
tumbling. We're not trying to touch it or anything.
Storage rooms stay at like really optimal temperatures. Dark
proper
and all
storage
that.
is very important.
Yeah, that's very important, man. Like it's just I don't know. Like if anybody knows and they shop with me, they know my stuff's like astronomical. But at the end of the day, like bud used to be like that, like 05 prior, and had like really good medicine like what we got, and it's clean. So it's the energy, the demand mainly, and everything that goes inside of it is what dictates the price that it's at right now. And I appreciate all my customers worldwide that shop with my stuff. Like when I got people hitting me up in London trying to like shop on Texas, is like it's crazy to me, and they're willing to pay a way more price than what we charge over here, which is wild to me. They pay crazy prices. I think Doja is like, I think they said like 120 pound an eighth. It's like $180 American USD. It's wild to me. And they're like, bet, give it to me. I'm like, there's a market out there. That's why I told people like one of the biggest profiting companies in the world is LVMH, the people that do Louis Vuitton and a lot of the big fancy wine spirits and stuff. And they don't drop the prices; they only raise them. You know what I mean? But they make sure the quality's there. As soon as you give up that quality, your fan base goes and it's out the window. But if you can hold that quality, you can hold that passion to whatever you're doing, the demand will set your prices, and
the pack will talk for itself. The pack's going to move itself.
When you get a QP from us and it looks like a whole fucking unit, then you know what's up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's one thing I like. We're like, damn, bro, that's a QP. Like it's insane. Like grams cover up like a whole hand because they're dense resinous too. You know what I mean? Like it's good. We got good flower, man. Not to toot our own horn, but I'm glad that we're doing the work that we're doing, and we're doing it in living soil. We're trying to change the stigma around it, because some people will say that like living soil doesn't burn good. I agree. Like it's not like a definite, but if you don't have your soil dialed in, it's a lot harder than just having like a good recipe on cocoa or salts. You know what I mean? It's a lot harder work to do. So if you can get it dialed in, much respect to you, man.
Yeah, it's tough because if you flush living soil, you kill the microbes.
Yeah.
So you have to
There
keep.
isn't really a flush.
Yeah.
It's just watering.
Watering
regularly.
Yeah, we
basically.
say flush, but like you said, it's not
It's just a water only.
Yeah.
It's,
Proper grown weed is proper grown weed.
Yeah.
Cannabis, whatever you want to. But yeah, it's
there's never any flood and drain.
There's so many methods to get fireweed, and that's why when people try to like dissect what we do, it's like, bro, I don't care what you say. At the end of the day, when we chopping, it's cured. Like it's burning bone right. Everybody loves it, and I'm hitting almost 72 a unit. So like, I don't know what to tell you, bro. Like you're telling me like don't do this and all that, but I mean our shit's coming out fire. And one thing I hope in Texas as it gets more legal here is that I want to be able to like take our stuff to get tested like more, make sure to be able to like provide paperwork behind it and be like, look, the shit's like not only fire but it's clean. Because I think that's the biggest thing right now.
Very important.
We've never had a bug in any of our flour.
Yeah, you see so many people walking around smoking like really bad product, and being like a trapper and shit like that. Going to events, people are always like putting stuff in front of your face, like pens and stuff like that. And I always humor them because like I want people to know. I don't want to come off as an asshole ever. I just want to come off as like informative. Like, hey, bro, I just want to let you know, like that little $30 distillate cart you're smoking is probably not the best thing for you. You know what I mean? And you may not feel it now. You may not feel it 10 years down the line, but like 30, 40 years from now, you're going to see like you're entitled to a settlement claim if you've been smoking cake vapes since this year's. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm not trying to really have our name like that. I want to make sure that everything that we're doing is like healthy for the people and the quality's there. So the passion stays there for us. You know what I mean? It keeps us working. It's not an easy passion. There's been times where we've been like call it quits. Like, nah, fuck no, we're not gonna call it, bro. Like we're gonna keep on going. We're gonna put out some fire. We've done it before. We've had our ups, we've had our downs, and now that we have like that experience and it's getting more prevalent, we're just like, okay, cool. We're having less and less problems, and we're going to get to the stage where we can grow more here in this state and grow outside, hopefully. So,
What was Austin like in the come up of the years? Were there a lot of underground growers out here, or was it mostly coming in? Yeah,
yeah. So actually, it's kind of funny. Like there was like, so back in the day, like I said, when I was like in middle school and high school, when we bought Dro, it didn't come around often. It was usually like batches, and there was underground growers that were growing crazy shit back in the day here. Sour Diesel, OG Master Kush, like so much different stuff that I remember grabbing as a kid that was like, even to on today's standards, was just outrageous. And then you have the Doja over here that's on the counter. This is actually grown by my boy Doja Inc. I don't want to say his name because I didn't get permission, but it's Doja Inc. He used to grow out here in Austin. He lived out here for a while, and him and Ryan are the ones that started Doja out in Sac as a delivery service, like way back in the day. But it was funny, like when I met him and when I brought Ryan to Austin, we're like driving by like Manor, and he's like, "Oh yeah, homie's grow was like right here." And I'm all like, "Oh word!" I'm like, "He used to grow out here," and I was like, "What years?" And he told me the years and stuff, and I was like, "Bro, I'm almost positive I got some batches off him." Like just the areas, like in my area, the quality of stuff that he was talking about putting out, even the strains, was like, man, I'm almost positive I got that one too. Mm-hmm. Like I don't like. So it's funny. There's always been a big cannabis scene in Austin. Like traditionally speaking, like Travis County and Austin as a whole has always been more lenient on like cannabis use. So it's always been like the city in Texas where you can pretty much like let your nuts hang. And 420 Reggae Fest or Marley Fest was always huge here. It became like a whole weekend thing where like they didn't even did it on 420. If 420 fell on the weekend, Marley cool, Fest. But they would do it for like the whole weekend prior or after 420, whatever was closer. And they would do like a big fest, and it was always like, you know, still hella illegal, but you could go down there, blaze as much as you want, like right in front of a cop, and like they wouldn't even do nothing to you, whether you're a teenager, kid, whatever the hell. Obviously, like a little kid, they might fuck with you, but no, we were like kids, bro. We were like 14, 15 years old out there, like Marley Fest, like chiefing down blunts of mid, just like right in front of a cop, just like, yeah, fuck you.
Smoking this brick weed. What you gonna do?
Yeah, what you gonna do about it? Yeah, no, that was awesome, man. And then when like I said, when I got out 2018, big brands like Jokes Up, High Tolerance, and all those dudes with the candy packs were like, they had a huge presence. Like the marketing Runs, bro, like Runs started it all. I feel like Burner has like a lot of like recognition for like starting like what he started in the cannabis industry. But if we're talking about what we know it as today with like the Mylars and the candies and all that, Runs started off, Jokes Up capitalized, and you had brands like High Tolerance that were just like going nuts with it. And now they got dudes that like Rick Ross and shit underneath their label. So it's just like, it sparked a flame to me, but I was like, no, I got to start a brand. So I started Smoke Strong with some homies, and it's been running the way it's been. And I started my brand to be like, if I'm not going to grow it, I'm going to source the best of the best of the best. I stopped moving mids. I started going out to Cali, started going out to Humboldt and Garberville. Shout out G-Ville and shit like that. I started going out there, man, and starting to see what real fire weed was. And I was like, okay, cool. This is what we're going to be bringing back. Like, I don't give a fuck the risk. Like, the profit is way worth it. The passion is way worth it. Like the satisfaction from getting it and being on like this early movement. That's what I saw. I was like, okay, this is the time. Like, if you don't, this is like the bootlegging movement before in the Prohibition era, before like it went legal. Like, you had dudes that were going like hard in the paint, even to get themselves legal, so they don't have to like worry about it no more. Mm-hmm. And you see that verbatim, like that's exactly what's happening today. You got a lot of dudes that are like getting the last little bit that they can before it goes full federally worldwide legal. And when that happens, like that's what I was saying earlier, I feel like prices are going to drop and competition is going to go way the hell up. Like if you want to be making a profit as a trapper in probably like the next 20 years, you're going to need like the
you have to need the best quality. Yeah, that's the only thing.
Yeah. Which means best connections, or you have to touch the plant yourself. One of the two, right? You either have to have a grower that you can work with. He runs the right genetics, gets the game plan, knows what fire is, knows what flavors are, or you have to do it yourself in house as a brand.
Because there's always a luxury brand.
Yeah.
Which still means you have to have the best connections, though.
Yeah,
because
you're right.
You don't just jump in and start growing fire.
Yeah,
No,
especially with genetics, man. Like
No one does.
Like we're cultivators, but we're by no means breeders. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like even like I know
What-
dudes that breed, and it's like they breed all this stuff and they spend all this time, and none of it's like crazy. You know what I mean? That's why I tell people when they ask me, they're like, "How come you haven't hunted stuff?" Or da-da? I'm like, "Man, we really don't have a lot of room to go with, and I'm not gonna like waste our time and money in like a year or so hunting down a strain that we find like the keeper pheno, and it's still not even like a pheno worth keeping."
Or it's old now.
Yeah, it's just outplayed. People don't want that no more. It's like until we get to that level of understanding, then that's when I'll start like popping my own breeding stuff, or even more room. If we just get some more room, for crying out loud, because I think that's the hardest thing about Texas is having like a facility like as large enough on a scale as like a lot of ones in California without getting caught, without like raising a red flag immediately, or like, and we have a pretty small operation going on right now, and we're looking to ramp it up, and like the levels we're ramping it up to seems like big scale to us, but it's nowhere near the grows I know that are going on in LA.
It's still super small batch.
Yeah, it's still super small batch. It's just kind of like we stay busy enough as it is already. If we like triple up the size that we're even trying to do right now, we're going to be pretty damn busy with the boutique flower we're doing. But at the numbers we're charging, it makes sense. It's like we're getting the same amount of money as a 100 light room that are getting sold at, you know, 1,200 a pack or whatever the hell. It's pretty much like the same math, just like a different standard for us. It's just a lot harder. I feel like, you know what I mean? Like I know a lot of homies that grow and they tell me how they're doing. I'm like, man, bro, like we gotta do a little extra work. You know what I mean? Especially like if you see like herming problems, you got to go through and like pluck out sacs and stuff and make sure everything like comes out straight. And I mean, we've even had stuff that had seeds in it, and I was like, man, what are they going to think about it? And then I forgot, like back in the day when you found a seed in like Dro, you got fucking pumped about it. So that's what it's like. You get a bag seed, you're like, oh shit, I've got the next one. I may have the next person. So like nowadays, it's like if someone gets a seed, it might be like a whole seed out the whole zip, one seed out the whole zip or whatever the hell. It's not like that bad, but it's like, oh bro, they get stoked about it. I've not had one complaint about it. I'm like, man, that's good to know.
If you're not happy with your current nutrient company, or you're not happy with how your products or flowers coming out, try Drip Hydro.
All you got to do is go to fsotd.com, get the discount code, and driphydro.com or Grow Generation stores nationwide, online or in store, we get you hooked up. You got to try Drip Hydro.
Everybody's switching to drip, and whether you want to come in store or you need a drop straight to your facility, Grow Generation can help you out there. Tell them the First Smoke family sent you and get on Drip Hydro now.
It's crazy. Some of the best genetics in the game were bag seeds.
Right? It's so
Indeed.
important.
It's weird how that happens, but
Yeah.
have you gotten any of the organic living soil to Joe Rogan yet?
Oh no, I mean I need to. There's a lot
This
of
guy's
dudes.
a big Rogan head over
No,
here.
but he's out here. He's out
That'd
here.
be
Yeah,
on
he's in
my
Austin.
force. I'd be like, man, I got to get some
He's
weed
out
to
here.
this dude.
Well, not the Doja gang hit me up one day, and they're like, one of the dudes was like, "Hey, Jada's in town." I'm like, "Who's Jada?" Like just completely went over here. They're like, "Jada Kiss, fool." I'm like, "Oh shit!" I'm like, "What's up? He wants some fire." I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, bet." So I got to meet Jada Kiss, and I got to meet a couple of famous people and make some connections with some dope dudes like Maxo. Shout out Maxo. When Ryan came out to Houston, you know, Maxo showed up. We parlayed for like the whole night, you know, went to the clubs and stuff like that. I drive a Trackhawk. Maxo drives a Trackhawk, so we got to connect on that, and then you know, swap numbers and shit like that. So anytime he's in Austin, you know, he taps in and shit like that. So it's cool to like, you know, branch your movement out to people that are like, they got like motion themselves, that they may take it upon themselves to be like, hey man, like what's up with the strain or something like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, I need to figure out what's up with Joe Rogan and Alex Jones. A lot of people don't like Alex. A lot of people don't like Alex Jones, man. But I've heard, like, I know dudes that know him personally, and they say that
He's spoken?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they say that dude's like they say that dude's wild, man. They say he's like wildly cool too.
You
Like,
gotta be.
yeah,
You
got
are.
right. Yeah, but yeah, I need to figure out how to get into those guys' ears over here because they're down the street from me. I know that much.
Yeah.
You said you guys are primarily popping seeds right now. What type of seeds are you popping?
If it's not Doja, it's probably something just to fill the gap. You know what I mean? I haven't really found anybody particular. I was popping Masonic. We were doing Masonics for a while, and shout out Big Mace out over there in LA. You know, his genetics are really good washers. I'll say that much. The terp profiles too that we were getting a lot of like land race looking strains. So like the yield wasn't really like the best, but the terp profiles were like crazy.
Yeah, we grew some ILGMs that came out pretty
Yeah.
good. Blue Dream, Skywalker.
Yeah,
OG,
so we grew some autos
and
from.
It was some Blue Dream you would not think is Blue Dream.
Yeah, I mean, it was fire, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But mainly we're just doing Doja genetics for the most part. Like I said, I had my boys who did their little collab. They gave me a bunch of films to work with, so we did that. We did that little project. But yeah, right now we got nothing but Doja, and then we got one. It's like GMOchi or something like that. It's like a GMO cross that was
With
from
Moki, yeah.
Pure Melt and Mendoza. So it's probably going to be a washer because you know they're those two hash companies that West Coast collabs with a lot. So
That came in the box, right?
yeah.
Yeah, they did a cool thing where they passed out boxes to a bunch of different growers and they had like multiple packs and then everyone got to chase them down. And that was
Yeah. I had my boy from Exotic Mafia Co. out here in Austin. He gifted me. That's usually where I get my beans from too. It's like people just be gifting them to me. Like, hey man, run this. I haven't really had to buy a lot of seeds. Ryan blessed me with a bunch of stuff like a year ago that was like good stuff too, like the Pina Colado. It's a Gelato 41 across the afternoon pineapple. Still haven't even got around to that one. That one's crazy. Apparently, we've got the Brunts Blue Mimosa, the Strawberry Escalado Blue Mimosa, and the Rainbow Belts Blue Mimosa that are all coming out. Aside from like doing what you need to do as a grower to make sure everything goes through, without the genetics and without like a good recipe, you're shooting yourself in the foot. And I've had some dudes Skittles out here that they swore by it, and I was like, that is not it. Like with all due respect, like that's not Z. It doesn't have the right color, and Z looks like mid half the time. I'm like, bro, if I'm telling you it doesn't look good, then it's like really does. It's really not, and you know. But then you get to kind of like provide constructive criticism because the same homie is like, okay, bet, thank you. Like now I know that this isn't good, and I'm like, here, try some of this. This is salts too. Check out what homie's doing. Oh wow, damn! Like look even the ash burns thick. You know what I mean? Even the ash just like burns exotic. I mean, I remember back in the day, and even now, if I see like other shit burning, you'll see it, and it's just like the ash just doesn't burn right. It's just all different.
It's like more solid. It's like more in one piece.
Yeah,
You know?
you know what I mean. You can like hit it up against the door, and then like that shit won't even fall off. That's how good the ash is now.
like a good cigar.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we were burning one in the track hawk on the way here, and it was looking like a glacier. The ash.
Yeah, it just so sometimes like I've seen that with like the Doja genetics at least is just like I don't know, man. Like you can burn it, and the stuff will like go. Sometimes if you're really careful, you don't even have to ash it. You just burn all the way down the road. And it's just kind of like, dang, like that's wild. Like I can like move it around. Like I'm outside smoking this shit. Like this thing like wind's not taking the ash or anything. So I've been more than enough times to be like, damn, like there's something going on here, and I like the looks of it. You know what I mean? It tastes good. Like the cherry biscotti. It's like, man, cherry biscotti's not that creative of a name. But you smoke it and you're like, oh, that's why. It's biscotti and cherry. Cut, straight, simple to the point. Love it. Coffin candy. I mean, that one's I think it's LCG crossed with strawberry scalado. That's what it was. LCG crossed with strawberry scalado. Like the candy in that is like, would you say bubblegum?
We were smoking a joint halfway down. I was getting bubblegum flavor.
It's just like this, like so much like riper, like candy, like flavor that it has on the nose, and it translates great to the flavor, which is not uncommon for like a Doja pack to like, especially the permanent marker. I think the permanent marker is probably one of the like most important strains in the last few years because you see so many people crossing it right now, and it's like why? Like we've had Sure before, we've had Kim before, but it just has that certain je ne sais quoi to it that is just like so much different than everybody else that it like creates its own lane. And like, yeah, you got all these different crosses coming out. From our experience, it's a pretty finicky strain to like work with. It's pretty hard motherfucker to work with. So when I see dudes like popping out fire of it, I'm like, damn, shout out to you, bro. Like I know that probably almost took some time, but it's great, man. Like, it comes out like pretty standard, like this like high standard, but it's like there across the board for the most part. When I see it done right, I'm like, okay, cool. It's like all coming out pretty much the same. Like when we popped the Sea Junkie Doja collab, it was the 80 minutes permanent marker and the permanent marker BX1. Like, even though we were doing it all from Beam, like all those phenols were like pretty much the same. You didn't see very many differing ones. Might have like a one lighter one or a little bit more darker one, but
they have very similar phenols.
Yeah, as far as like the actual like terp profile, it was all pretty like spot on with right there. So yeah, a shout out to the like anybody growing that strain right now because like the permanent marker crosses because they're just fire, man. Like I think it's something cool to show people. You're like, hey, check out this one. And they smoke it and they're like, oh damn, like that's different, man. Like that's like a Kim, like creamy candy, like all these different like cool profiles come into one. So genetics are important.
It's a huge part of it. Huge part of it. And also knowing, predicting what people want. A lot of people, like you were saying, will hunt seeds or hunt down genetics or grow something that people don't want. And they'll be like, yeah, I got all these orange strains. I want to show you 7 different orange strains. And it's like, damn, orange is a hard one to open up to, right? It has to be a very special. So just even that's part of it too. It's growing it well, the right genetics. And then what we talk about with someone like Ryan, Doja, is knowing what the market's going to want, knowing where the market's going and what would be a flavor profile, what's really smoking. A lot of people might be a great grower, might be a great breeder, do not know what the market wants, does not know what people are going to want 6 months, a year from now, 2 years from now. It's like multiple sectors. And that's why, like what Pac says is you can't be amazing at everything. And if you are, that's super rare. You're the 1%.
Yeah.
So to work with a team like what you guys have, where everyone has a position and everyone plays that to the strongest of their ability is key, in my opinion, for this market and this industry, because it's getting ultra competitive and even the flavors have to check all the boxes.
Right.
Burn white, taste, smell, potency, look, on and on. And on. It literally, before it was just, does it look pretty? And does it smell
good? Does it smell good?
Yeah.
Is it crystally?
Isn't it funny that those like were the biggest like standards for weed looks and smell? And it's all like, honestly, as we like grow up as like connoisseurs or like get more into like that whole,
Nothing to do
it's
with
like
it.
nothing to do with
Skittles was the first mainstream strain that showed us that, in my opinion.
Exactly.
As far as like people that were like, nah, the taste though.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I get it. It looks crazy. It looks like Dep. It looks like all this other shit. It's
not
dark,
frosty
whatever. And even you, if you got a good Dep batch, you would smoke it and be like,
oh yeah,
it's fucking tastes
yeah. When
great.
I was going,
that's what really did it for me, being like, damn, even the Dep batches are fire.
I think we had
the Dep batches
like
came before the indoor batches.
I'm right there with you, brother, because when I would go out to Garberville, like that's what we would shop on, was like Runts. Was like, well, not Skittles, but Runts was like the big Dep that you could grab, where it was like, this is a Dep. Are you sure? Like, bro, I don't want to steal from you. Like, I want to make sure I'm paying you the right number, bro. And they're like, nah, bro, go ahead. There's like stupid low numbers. And then you go and get the ends, which are like damn near almost double, if not double. And you're like,
it's not that much better.
It's not that much better, bro. And then you like that
depending on the grower.
I've learned I learned a lot of stuff like that. Like how like the look of weed, where it's grown, because even like outdoor and depths can be super fucking fire. Like some of the best rosin I've ever had in my life, like to this day, is like some sun-grown, like outdoor flower washed rosin, where it's just like it doesn't have like the crazy looking color. It's like more of an orange amber color, and you hit it, and it's like the terps may not be as strong, but they're still very much there. But the effect is just by far so much different. And that's why we like growing in living soils, because it's like the plant goes through its full cycle. I feel like it doesn't skip anything. Like when you do anything else, like synthetic amendments and whatnot, like you're definitely going to be able to get fire, especially if you have a good recipe. But like the plant as a whole, I feel like it's just missing this tiny little touch that.
Well, it just uptakes the nutrients as it goes, basically. Because if you provide the soil with everything that the plant needs, you don't feed the plant. The soil feeds the plant.
Yeah.
And the plant uptakes nutrients
as it needs it through the life cycle.
Yeah. It's almost like if the thought process is like DWC, deep water culture, where the plant feeds when it wants to as well through a 24-hour cycle. People are like, it doesn't eat while it's asleep. And it's like, I believe you, but you can see things happening. You know, it's interesting. What got you into growing, Burke? What made you want to be like, I actually want to do this instead?
Mostly because always wanted to have the best quality, and then also I was broke, so you know
that'll do it.
Always on a budget, and then always wanting the best quality, you know. And then being a stoner, you know, that's an expensive habit. So you know, I said, well, I would rather just grow my own. And at first, I thought it was like some mad scientist stuff, you know, like how would I do this? But you know, trial and error, and first harvest surprised me. You know?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
First harvest was just out in a shed.
Those were autos too, yeah.
And we had some of a bug somewhat of a bug problem then, and still, I mean, that first batch moved really quick. So
yeah, a lot of people liked it. We had a bug problem, but we didn't have any bugs in the flower. It was just like in Texas, like the environment, especially where we're at, we're like in bumfuck nowhere, Texas. The environment that you're dealing with, the critters, the infestation, it's hard. Like luckily we grow in tent, so like it actually helps us out a lot. But when we're doing stuff in the shed, or when we have a couple of little setups that are outside the tent, those that's
the main problem. It's just
problem.
bugs.
You got to make sure that you got the defense down. Yeah. You don't want to be laying down pesticides or anything that's going to fuck up the flower and shit. So the weather is always like pretty hot here. You know what I mean? Like our winter is like 1 month, and it's usually February. Everything.
And the winter grow is always the easiest and the the friendliest.
Like right now we have we got so many window units going, fans, all that stuff. Like, and it's still kind of hard to keep it down like in the low 70s. I mean, we manage it. We do what we need to do, but it's like we're about to shop. We're gonna hang stuff up. Okay, cool. Thank God it's not over 100 anymore.
Thank God it's finally cooling off.
It probably would have been impossible to keep the cure room in a temperature and point that we needed to do it at with what we got working with. So, I mean, yeah, it's a challenge out here, man, to grow in Texas. If you're growing in Texas, I have a lot of freaking respect for you, because not only just the legality of it, but it's really hard, man. Like we grow where we stay at and shit. You know what I mean? So it's like we got to make sure that everything is like straight, but we still do it, man. Like I think it's worth it. I'm glad to be here, like with him and our whole partnership. Like it's just it's grown to something like really freaking great, and a lot of people are like receiving it really well. And I don't know, man. I just think it's probably because we're doing things.
You're showing a lot of love.
Yeah, we're showing a lot of love, but we're doing things a little bit differently too, man. We're not really doing it like a lot of dudes out here, but we're trying to do it the hard way, but to show people why we're doing it, man. The quality is out of this world. Can't wait for y'all guys to try some of this. I brought some for y'all guys to take.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I really like that dark purple one that you call. I like local stuff. Whenever we travel, one of my favorite things is trying something that's I can't get anywhere else.
For sure.
It's nice to have the staples like, oh shit, I'm smoking the same batch of permanent marker or the same, but it also is nice to be like, yo, this is Texas right here. This is something you can't get anywhere else. Like that's always something that I look forward to.
Man, I'm sick of spending so much time going to the store, having to make all these runs and load all this shit up. Yo, what are you doing here?
It's hash making day. I'm always at Grow Generation. If you don't want to have to always go into the store, it's super easy. They deliver 60 plus stores nationwide, delivery right to your doorstep and discreet.
GrowGeneration.com. Use the code, tell them the family sent you, and get hooked up.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a big jar of rosin.
That's so that's an Oklahoma Doja. So my homie Doja Inc. and Ryan Doja Pack, they started Doja together back in the day in SAC as a delivery service. Lance kind of took and both the logos that people see because I get people asking this a lot of times. They're like, is that the real Doja? Is he a fake? Is he a scam? No, he's just like one of the founding members. Both the logos were made by Al Fresco around the same time. So it is Doja. He does this thing legally in Oklahoma. If you're in Oklahoma and you want Doja, you can grab the permanent marker. That's his permanent marker right there. He has some other genetics himself, but he also runs a lot of Rusty's, Duke of Herb. He runs a lot of his gear too. So, the homie's putting out a lot of Doja genetics himself that we know in California, but you can get them in Oklahoma. And he has some of the highest quality on the shelves in Oklahoma that you can get.
So when you see that logo, you know it's legit.
Yeah, it's legit.
So it's just two different logos representing two different places.
Yeah, two different entities. But I mean, the homies are both guys who run it are both still really tight with each other and got shit lined up together. So if you see that logo in Doja in Oklahoma and you see the permanent marker, you can trust that it's going to be up there with the Doja permanent marker that you're going to see in Cali or any of the other weed. He grows cocoa, everything burns clean. That's the black cherry gelato rosin, single sourced, super fire. Is
this the cut that I?
Yes,
this is
It is yours, homie. Top yield and yeah, they said they're running.
That's the cut that we released at family reunion.
Yeah, and that's fire, man. So fuck the upfront smell because it's so loud and shit. But when you exhale on that, when you take a hit off that. that flavor is insane. Candy, like candy gas. Like
They gave me a gram of it, and I'm gonna break it in. Yeah, the 1 gram. I told them surprisingly gassy for like the candy to come through. Real different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, man. The homies all around are doing their thing. If you see a logo with Doja and Ryan endorses it or something like that, you can bet whether it's in Cali, Texas, Spain, wherever the fuck, it's going to be right up there. Shout out, like you said earlier, man. He's doing his thing to do the traveling and go out there, and EK does it too. EK's like his personality, his whole like with the camera, how he is with the camera and how he is with people. Both those dudes inspire me like so much more than anybody in the game has ever done it. And the fact that they're best friends and they work together and they have this brand together that they built and shit, it just makes it's the passion's there, man. I love working with these guys and they, like I said, they give me so much inspiration to get up off my ass, travel to New York. I went to New York like my first time like a few months ago, and I've been out back there like 4 or 5 times just because like people are like, bro, we need some more shit. Philadelphia, I got people out there moving my shit hard, and I see like it's just necessary. Like even y'all guys are like, get up, travel. Y'all came over here. I mean, that's inspirational, man. Do like bus a tour. Of course you make what you need to make, but honestly, man, it's not even about the fucking money. It's about like doing it for the culture, doing it for the people, getting your name out there, showing the people who they need to be focused on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and showing out what you do best, what your passion is.
Yeah.
What are these gummies? I just say
Dude,
one.
get you some, man.
They're good.
I'm about to eat a second one.
Boysenberry, man.
He just
I
got
couldn't
one.
stand the boys. I was like, yo, I really like boysenberry jam. I gotta try this one.
I'm not gonna lie, these gummies go hard. These I think are done. Can't remember who produces them, but they are
Natura.
Yeah, Natura.
Oh, okay, dope. Shout out Josh, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're on the
Another
tour.
great guy.
Josh and Leo, man. Shout out to those dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah, those guys. He took me to go meet them a while back, and of course they're at the event and they're moving. And they're like, "Hey, so you're the Doja rep? Do you want to take some?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, absolutely." I realized I was looking at Leo, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, bro. I remember. Like, I was up there in Sac, met you." Da, da, da. He's like, "Oh yeah." And so it's cool. Like, small freaking world. Like, welcome to my city, man. Welcome to Texas. I was in your area, now you're in my area. Like, what's up? And then you make connections that way. You get to expand, man. I like that. I encourage, and if you're a trapper or a grower or anything like that, I encourage people to like get outside their own city, like not even their own state. Like you never know what market is untapped that's like just waiting for your product. Like they're just like, man, I needed that. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that we got to see that ourselves because he puts in a hell of a lot of work. Like I put in a lot of work, but what he does, growers do so much. Like if you're like doing a whole grow, especially like an organic grow where you don't have shit on timers and you're doing everything by hand, it takes a lot of freaking work and
it's all hand watering.
Yeah, so I mean, like I love working with this dude. Everything that we got going on right now, it's just been absolutely great so far. And we do it for the community, man. We do it for the people. Of course, that this is like our passion. This is the way we feed our families and how we take care of ourselves. But at the end of the day, like there's a certain passion for the people that I just pay attention to that. If I pay attention to the people, I don't got to worry about the money. I don't got to worry about everything else. As long as I'm worrying about the quality and the people's interest, I know that I'm going to be successful. And I know that they're going to be happy and that this is going to keep on going on. So that's why we've only seen growth, man. We haven't really seen any decline. Like there's a lot of people in hard times right now. The economy is in a really rough place right now. I'm not sure when it's going to get better, but I noticed that from here to West Coast to East Coast that there's a lot of people hurting for money right now. So there's going to be people like cultivators and trappers and all around. They're going to realize that like, man, maybe we have to drop the prices or else it's just not going to move at all. So strap up, man. That's all I got to tell people. Strap up, but get out your
Get it how you live.
Yeah, get it how you live. But you got to definitely step out your front porch and your block and get out there, man. There's a whole world waiting to meet you. And they all love to smoke. So it's dope, man.
Infamously, we've heard Texas is a sketchy spot to smoke or to have weed or even. What do you think? You've lived here your whole life. We're all just, hearing about it.
I think it's sketchy if you make it sketchy.
There you go. I agree.
Depends on who you are and if you know how to move.
Exactly, man.
Everybody was telling us this whole time, "Oh man, be careful! You guys are doing this, that."
Don't.
It's like, bro, we
It's
live
not like a foreign country.
There's two things that people love to tell people when they come to Texas: go to Terry Black's and go to don't smoke weed everywhere.
Or
I'm gonna tell you,
Buc-ee's.
don't listen to that advice. There's so much more barbecue spots out there that are great in Texas.
Give us the
Dude,
rundown.
we fucking love Terry Black's.
You,
Man.
bro, that's what. But what I tell you, I told you Terry Black's is for people that are not from
We're tourists, though.
Yeah, exactly. It's for
We're doing what we're supposed to do.
it's for
Check
the
the
tour.
box.
Man, we go to
Exactly.
Salt Lake. Like Salt Lake's been around for a while, bro. Like they got a freaking open pit. Like,
They got
that's-
chicken.
Yeah, bro. They got.
See, Terry
That's
Black's
the
on
one
chicken. That
thing.
fucks
Yeah,
me up.
and they have plain white bread. Like, come on, bro. Like,
I ain't eating none of
have
that.
a little bit more respect for yourself when you have like
We need
because
some
barbecue, like
damn
barbecue.
Texas toast or something. man.
Exactly, bro. We got
Holy
there's so
shit.
much like the bread options in Texas is so much more past like a fucking loaf of Wonder
White bread.
like Wonder white bread, bro. Come on, bro. Like
We didn't eat none of that shit, for the
No,
record.
yeah, no, that's good.
She
The
got to have
brisket's
chicken,
pretty
though.
good, though. I like the cream corn.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
cream
so,
corn's
so
fire.
this is a
Oh,
story
yeah.
on Terry Black's. His father, I believe, the Black's out in Black's Barbecue out in Lockhart, which is like 30 minutes away from here. It used to be pretty far, but development of highways got about 30 minutes down the road now. But Black's Barbecue was like still is probably one of the, like the best charting barbecue spots since like forever and a day ago. You know what I mean? So Terry Black's, I think he did his own thing with his dad's stuff. He brought it out to a couple spots. He brought it out here. Y'all went to the one over there off
Dallas.
Oh, in Dallas. You
We've
went
been
to
to
the one-
Dallas and the one here.
You know the Austin one.
We went
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
too.
So
We're cussied out, bro.
yeah, but did you notice the similarity? Like, did you like?
I like Dallas one better.
You felt like it was better.
I swear.
If you want to check out some barbecue, I got a spot out here that is good. It's not in downtown Austin. It's a little bit up north, but it's still in Austin. But it's called Brotherton's, man. If anybody's in Austin watching this right now, I'm gonna let y'all know. Go to Brotherton's Barbecue.
What do you get?
Man, honestly, they have this one. It's like a chop sandwich over there, and they have it's like a grilled cheese chop sandwich that is just like absolutely insane. You know what I mean? It's monstrous. Like you see the price of it, and you're like, what the hell? But it's a big freaking sandwich, man. It's like brisket and grilled cheese. Like Texas brisket and grilled cheese is like a hidden gem of the South. You know what I mean? It's amazing. But they got great brisket there. They got great meat cuts over there. But they got a lot of good stuff, man.
So Brotherton's.
Brotherton's.
What for anybody coming and wanting to check out Austin? What's some places they got to hit up? What's some things?
Shit,
to do?
I told you, Jay Primes, I haven't been there yet, but I've seen their menu. I see a lot of stuff that comes out. I know it's fire. Like it has to be, bro. Like they have really good ratings. They got a lot of fat friends, including like they're telling me like, bro, you got to
The
go there.
foodies and shit.
Yeah, the foodies and- I've been to
You better pay
Uchi.
attention.
Yeah, I got to Uchi for sushi. Like they got a line, a couple shops, and I think they're opening up another one where it's not like it's like Uchi and then like Uchiya and then like Uchiyo, but they're all like different Japanese sushi bars, but really traditional. So it's like you can like go. That's like really highly rated in America, but it's right here in Austin. It's called Uchi. I love going to that spot. You know, tabs usually about like $300-400, not too with like you and a date. So it's kind of pricey for people that are out here, but it's very much worth it. It's like something that you can go and eat, and then like the next day you're just like, okay, I'm actually good. I don't really feel like I'm hungry, or it's just like really good quality fish. I feel like.
Barbecue ain't cheap out here.
Barbecue's
We
not
realized
cheap.
quickly. You get 3 or 4
Barbecue-
people,
yeah, see,
$160 for just.
I'm not the
Spread.
biggest. I was joking with some friends about this because they're like they're going to Terry because Doja Inc. He lived out here for a while, so he knows about Terry Black's, and he's all like, told him to go to Terry Black's. And like, why would they tell them that? Like, there's so many different like barbecue spots, and
No one told us that. This guy listens to Joe Rogan all the time.
yeah,
so he's
so
like,
yeah,
bro,
so
you
yeah, he
gotta
talks
try
about
out
it. Yeah,
Terry
yeah.
So I was
Black's,
like,
bro.
Bro,
Let's try
I'm pretty sure that dude has an endorsement from them or something like that.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure something. I don't know, but
Dude, I hope not,
But
Rogan.
the best,
Fucking
man.
I promise you,
Fuck this over.
I promise you, the best,
I watch Joe
the
Rogan
best
too.
barbecue that you're gonna find in Texas or especially in Austin is from the people, bro. The civilians. If
Yeah,
you go
he's
to a
new. He's new
cookout or
out here. We
something-
gotta come
Yeah,
over.
yeah.
Like, you know.
No,
I get cussied easy, bro.
Yeah.
All these damn hustlers.
Nah, food trucks though. Food trucks is big in Austin. I don't know if I don't know. I don't know too much about America and all that, but I can pretty much put my life on it that I think that food trucks, like the whole craze of it, started out here in Austin because it came in like super quick, like out of nowhere, and it's like everywhere now. It's like literally
Yeah, it
all over
is.
here. Like where we're at right now, this used to be the fucking hood. Like this used to be like the absolute like ghetto of the ghetto of the ghetto. It didn't change until about 15 years ago, and now the property taxes, value of everything's high. But you also got coffee shops, like little boutique coffee shops, boutique clothing
Goes
shops.
hipster.
Yeah, it's really hipster. Austin's always been super hipster, super big college town. UT's right there. It's always been a college town. You know what I mean? So it just has like that vibe to it. But the last 15 years or so, especially the last 5, I feel like it's just starting to change. It's become a big like tech industry city. You got Tesla HQ out here. Right off the toll, we race by that motherfucker all the time, like just doing like 8 miles to the gallon in our track hog, just like racing whoever the fuck we're racing, like right in front of like Elon's Tesla HQ. Like, yeah, fuck you, Tesla. You know what I mean? It's just that kind of funny stuff that's out here, man. Like, you wouldn't think that like Apple has a big like factory out here. Samsung's really big out here.
They
Like,
got the new Samsung. Going
yeah,
in
Tesla's
Taylor.
like that's where all the Cybertrucks are coming out here in Austin. So we're starting to see all the Cybertrucks out here in Austin before you see them anywhere else in the world and shit. So there's a lot of cool things out here that are bringing in a lot of people. All the luxury car brands are here now. Luxury stores are starting to set up here now. So it's cool to see as an Austinite, someone who's grew up in this like town that was like virtually nothing like 15, 20 years ago to being to where it's at now, like one of the most like hot spot visited places in the South, at least. You know what I mean? Like everybody's like, where do I go in Texas?
Yeah, Texas got a lot of pride, you know.
Yeah, you go to Austin. DFW is really big, really long to explore. Some dicey areas. Houston's like probably like 70, 80% ghetto. Y'all probably saw that yourselves. You know what I mean? Shout out to Houston. You got to be from Houston or know some people in Houston, man, like to really have a good time out over there. You can't just like walk up like Austin. Austin's really sweet. I'm from here. I'll tell you that right now. There's not the most sweetest parts out over here, but for the most part, especially nowadays, like y'all guys are good to like go up, wear your Rolex or whatever, go downtown to go have a bite to eat. It's not like LA where you got dudes sitting outside the fucking car watching you. And all that. It's a pretty safe area for the most part. There's of course there's crime. There's some dicey areas and whatnot.
Houston seems real spread out too.
It is.
It's like country.
Like Austin,
It's a lot of suburbs and country area and like
yeah,
a lot of land and shit.
Exactly. Same thing with Dallas, bro, where it's like the DFW area is like 2 cities that like literally can join each other, and it's just so freaking huge, like LA, but there's like not as much as LA. You know what I mean? Like there's some cool spots and whatnot, but it's just there's like a lot of like I don't know if y'all saw at the Dallas spot, but like around like the corner, we had our Air-BNB there, and it's like a really nice Air-BNB, 3-story, like
Probably right in the hood.
Boy, I tell you, I was like, man, I like. Thankfully, we're like,
It happens with these fucking Airbnbs, bro. Because you'll look at them and see the same thing happen right here. Saw the pictures. We're like, oh, it's a good amount of rooms. And they don't say the address. And then I got the address, and I was like, fuck, this shit's on MLK Boulevard. I already know. This is
any MLK is going to be a dicey area. I think that's
it
what
definitely feels like you could pick up an iced cappuccino and then a gun off the ground.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
So more like a dirty syringe. That's really what it's like.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, it's like
coming from LA though. This is nothing.
I will say that
this is nice out here. It's just nice.
Austin's crime shit that we really are big on is like obviously you got a lot of big cartel presence in Texas and some in the cities. So I feel like that's what brings in a lot of like fentanyl's big over here right now. Heroin's big right now. Crack and cocaine have always been a thing. Meth is really big in this area. It's really more like a meth and heroin type of like area. So you see like you don't really have like to worry about anymore like just getting ran up on or being like on the wrong area at the wrong time type of deal. Just more so you got to watch out for like the bums, the crackheads and shit like that. Because like most of the bums out over here are like drug addicts. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
I feel like that's really what like, and I say that I come from the streets. I'm not like just trying to be like, judgmental or anything like that. Like, nah, like I grew up like serving crack and shit like that to junkies and homeless people. And it seemed like growing up and even now, it's just like, yeah, it seems like this is the problem, like why a lot of people are homeless out here.
You think the fentanyl's made it into the cocaine out here, even being this close to the border?
I'm gonna be honest, man. I don't do enough blow anymore keyword to know, but I honestly doubt it because even when I do see homies selling it or whatever, I feel like I don't see stepped on shit as much anymore. I feel like you see a lot more like raw. You see a lot more scama fish scale out here that just like, damn, you know what I mean? So I'm not sure if like that's really a problem out over here. Just more so it being like the pills and shit. Yeah. Because Parks is huge out over here right now. I know a lot
of fake pills.
Yeah, man. I encourage anybody to get off that shit, man. Like that's what I went to prison for was manufacture, deliver crack cocaine and shit. I was on game. That's what I grew up doing with my father and shit. So I mean, after I got out of prison, I never like looked down on the trap or the hood or anything like that. I come from that shit. It's just for me personally, I don't want to be around that. I ended up having a son with my beautiful wife. Got 2 kids with her now. So it's like I got 2 sons that I got to like look out for. I'm trying to raise them in like the cannabis industry too. And like at least pass down the skills that I can, like my father did to me, my stepdad did for me. It's just like, just pass down those skills, man. Like you, if I can't teach you how to become a man, which I'm sure I can, like I can at least teach you my, at least I can teach you my trade. Mm-hmm. So I want to do that for my son. So I got to be around, man. I got to be around, got to watch how I move. And, you just got to be vigilant out there. You got to watch what you're doing with yourself. I think that a lot of people are kind of on this like health movement right now.
Yep.
I feel like you see a lot of people like switching their lives up, which is really cool. I hope that's another fad that like just really takes off, because I feel like it was a fad for a long time. Like in 2010s, like the whole 2010 era, all the way up until like 2018, 2019, I feel like the pills, which is really big. Like syrup started out in Texas. You know what I mean? Like South has always been in the syrup, but I remember growing up, we used to sip Act like nothing. I remember when activists got shut down, they weren't letting people grab it anymore because of like the overusage and all that. High tech shot up to like 300 a pint, and people were like crazy. Now it's like 300 a line for like just regular syrup, and it's like, dude, I stopped sipping just because of how much pricey. I remember by me and my brother, we joke about that all the time. Like growing up, for $20, I bullshit you not, you could go and get a gram of dro, a blunt, a bar,
cup of lean.
Yeah, like a line of lean, a bar, and like some chips and some soda from like leftover. Because bars used to be like $2-3 a pop. Drank used to be like 10 a line or something like that. You can get some dro for like $10 a gram and shit like that. You can run it up with like $20-$30 between you and your homies and get fucked up. You know what I mean? So, but now it's shit. You can't even take $30 to the weed man anymore. Dudes don't even sell grams no more, bro. Like, oh, shit, we sure as shit don't. You know what I mean? Like it's eighths on up, and I'm sorry, I don't do no $25 eighths. Usually anything that's going in there these days is not good. We got a certain standard, y'all. So
yeah, 100%.
No, it's different.
What favorite spot to smoke in Austin? Good spot if you're a tourist.
Man, honestly, you're not supposed to smoke in parks and shit, but if you go down to the Barton Springs area, I always tell people to go down to the Soaker Park, Barton Springs area, because you have the botanical gardens down there. Open green fields with the soccer fields, the natural spring from the Edwards Aquifer. The Barton Springs is just a really dope spot to go at if you're into like activities, because that's what Austin is. It's not really like a city that you go and like have a lot of like spots you pull up to and just kind of spend your bread at. I mean, you can do that, but really what we're known for is like activity, man. Hiking, biking trails, natural springs,
boating down the river,
boating down the river, all that shit, man. Like if we got time, y'all guys are still here, I can take y'all out to Lake Travis on the jet skis and shit. And we got a couple jet skis, and it's fun as fuck over there, man. Like Texas is just like Austin in general. There's a lot of nice. There's room for everybody here. Whether you're really freaking rich, we got spots over in the hills for you that you can go spend 10, 20, 30 million dollars on a crib. And if you're broke, we got some little shanties, apartments that you can come rent down the street in the north side. Or if you're a young college kid, or you're a techie that got a lot of money and you're single and you want to be in the scene, walk out your front door and have some shit happening, boom, right here. Because that's why this place right here is expensive. I guarantee you this house we're in is probably like at least $700K. And back in the day, it wasn't nowhere near that. But the thing about this is that we have so many music festivals out here that you can literally like walk outside here and hear the live music going down from the street. And I don't know who doesn't like that. It's really not that annoying, bro. I'm from here. If you're from a noisy city, hearing good music, live music shouldn't bother you at all. So it's pretty cool to like walk out and hear like the UT game playing with the drums, or you hear any live band going down from South by Southwest, ACL, any of the big festivals we got going down on here in Austin. So it brings a lot of places, man. I know I'm from here, but I'm from Texas. I love the state as a whole. I definitely tell people that San Antonio is a really dope spot to go check out a lot of like sightseeing stuff, the Riverwalk and all that. But Austin is definitely the city that you want to go to if you want to like go and ball out, parlay, and have a really good fucking time here, eat really good. You can. We got food trucks. You can get good stuff for $7 a meal, or you can get good shit for $7,000. You know what I mean? It's all here, man. It's just like LA. It's just like New York, except so much fucking smaller. So it kind of still has a small town vibe a bit to it. You see people very often, but I mean, it's kind of got like that uppityness that LA got, and that's
gas
what
is half price.
yeah, I mean, we got a lot of people from California here, man. That's a joke they test and say. They're like, y'all stop coming over here, man. Like, it's not that.
You'll see that
I
bumper
definitely got a
sticker.
few
Don't
DMs.
California my Texas.
Yeah, it's
I
like-
got a few DMs. We were coming out here.
It's funny because when I go up to North Cali, I'm like, bro, this North Cali is nothing like what Cali is.
Nah, hell no.
It's much like Texas.
Yeah.
It's all like, I got along with like everybody out over there, and they're all like backwoods people, and they love me, man. Like I love them. It was just like a different culture out there in the North than it is even in like LA or in the Bay, I'm sure. You know what I'm saying? Like
It's like that in Florida too.
Yeah.
South Florida is totally different than Central and North Florida. It's the
Yeah.
same shit.
My real father, he sold coke and shit from Texas and Florida. He had a spot out in Sebastian, and I want to say it was like West Palm Beach, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And then Venice,
Yeah, Venice.
Vero Beach.
Vero
Oh, yeah.
Beach.
Yeah, he
That's Brevard,
had
East Coast.
he had a house over there in Vero Beach, and a really nice one.
I'm not far from there.
Yeah, it was
Where I'm from.
Yeah,
Those
you
are, like,
familiar with
center
Sebastian?
places.
Yeah,
I remember
for sure.
Sebastian
The
being
inlet.
like a very like
Yeah.
small town, like a very like
It's a
not
beach
so-
town.
Yeah, exactly, but not like a
Clear
nice
water.
Yeah, not like a
fucking
nice beach. It's just kind of like a subtle beach, not like Miami Beach.
Good surfing though. Good
Yeah?
fishing
Oh, you
too.
think so? Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I think when I was out there, by memory, I don't think I remember seeing like a lot of waves or anything like that. But my dad had a few houses in Florida, a couple that he trapped out of, and one that he had. So I grew up going back and forth to Florida a lot, but I haven't been recently to where I can really remember a lot of stuff. I have a homie that's cool with like Ace Hood out over there, like really tight with him and all that. So if I ever pull up to Miami, I got a homie that can come swoop me up, and he deals with Ace Hood like almost every day, I guess. So he's like, bro, if you come down here, more than likely we're gonna be hanging out with this dude and all that. And I'm like, okay, cool.
That's dope.
Yeah, right. That's cool. That's dope.
What's the weed scene like at South by Southwest?
It's crazy, bro.
Really?
Like that's why I say like Austin's really lenient on weed because we have so many festivals here, like at any given time, that all those festivals you get so much, like even concerts, bro, like smoking so much that it's like, what are you really gonna do? There's not really much. I've been arrested for weed a few times in Austin. The last time I got arrested for a roach, most disrespectful arrest I ever had. The girlfriend I had at the time and I both got arrested for the same roach. Most disrespectful arrest. And that was actually not too long ago. That was probably like a few years ago. But the actual outcome of it, like it got dropped almost immediately. And then like I even caught a felony recently with like a cart, because carts and concentrates are all felonies out over here. I caught a felony and
Concentrate.
yeah, and I was actually just serving your punk. Man, bro, it was so funny. I was like, this is before
It
we're
was on its
growing.
way back.
This is before we were growing.
we were
And like he
even
calls me
growing,
up. He's like, hey,
yeah.
bro, I want a couple zips, but I've got a couple flavors to bring. So I bring up like a QP of like some different flavors for him to check out. And I'm coming back. I have like 4 or 5 bands on me. I have like scales, bags. I moved a lot differently, like even a few years ago. You know what I mean? Because I was still like on like fresh out of prison, go on trap mode. You know what I mean? So I was doing that, and then like I ended up getting pulled over. Long story short, they were like trying to get me with like deliver weed and all that shit because they saw my priors and they saw I had a bunch of cash on that, and I was like, bro, no.
Distribution. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
I talked them out of it. I showed them like my Facebook Messenger. I was like trying to buy a car the day before then. So I was like, all the cash is there. So they got me off of the distribution, but they arrested me for a felony of a controlled substance, and they charged me with the weed too. With the weed, that shit got almost immediately dropped. Like literally, I hired my lawyer. He hit me up like a couple of weeks later. He's like, okay, boom, we got the weed drop. We're just fighting the cart case. And then like for 2 years, I didn't go to court. COVID was a thing. I'm sure it set back a while, but it eventually became to like my lawyer called me up. He's all like, yeah, so you're gonna we got it down to nothing. You just gotta give 2 clean UAs, and within a month apart from each other. And I was like, I don't even know if I can do that one, bro. You know what I mean? And he's all like, shit, hold on, let me see. And he calls me back like a few days later, and he's like, done, nothing.
But the cart was the hang up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yo,
Any
that's
concentrate. It was
like-
just funny because it's like a kid could.
It was like a big
pick
chief
that up
card
and,
too.
like,
No
press a
disrespect to
button.
be,
You know
like, if
what
I
I
name
mean?
a brand, I like to talk like shit about. I'm not disrespecting them because those guys are like still have their market and they're making money and they're like hustling. You know what I mean? There's a big part of that to learn from. But it's funny when you're like, damn, yeah, and I got caught up with a big chief card at that. You know what I mean? It wasn't even like a crazy card. It was like, oh yeah, it was just a big chief, and it was probably a knockoff one too. I got hit him with it. I was telling him, I was like, nah, man. I was telling my lawyer, I was like, nah, fight it. I'm pretty sure it's probably a fake card.
Could have said you got it
it's
from a
probably
gas
not even
station.
gonna like test up for like,
He's like, it's 0% THC.
yeah, it's probably not even show for THC. It'll probably be like Delta 8 or something if we're lucky. So he just held his ground. He did what he had to do, and I got off a felony with like praise nothing to stay out of trouble for 2 years while I was fighting it. And
Well, you know, if you get a big card order in Texas, it's definitely not worth it. That's like the key words. That's wild that it's because it's all the same shit.
I tell people that
That's what's
man.
crazy.
I know a lot of dudes are moving carts, and you know, the card game is big right now because so many people, like I think the kids and a lot of
I
younger
don't really
people
touch carts.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they'd rather buy that than flour because of the whole odor, the whole
Yep.
like just like I was saying about Reggie earlier.
It's
Yeah.
more concealable.
I don't even think
Like
they
just
know
because
how to roll a
if you
joint.
never had any fire like bud and all you've ever had was Reggie, it'll be good enough for you. Just kind of like how like the distillate carts are now. It's kind of like the new Reggie for today. You know what I mean? It's just like kids can get it. It's pretty cheap. It's not the best for you on the back end, but it gets you. If you don't smoke like that, it's going to be perfect for you. You're going to think it's the best thing ever. Your parents are not going to catch you. Your landlord's not going to bitch at you. You know, whatever the fuck you got to worry about, it's a lot easier to have a cart now. So it's a big game right now to see. But like you said, it's not worth it. If you're over here moving like thousands and thousands of carts and you get busted, like probably get a good lawyer, probably get yourself off because I've seen some dudes get off some shit just not even having a stench. You know what I mean? Just letting the lawyer do what they got to do, and you never know what could happen. 9 times out of 10, if you have the money for a good lawyer, which is my best advice to every trapper, is make sure you got money for a good lawyer and have a good lawyer that you can fucking call that you know can like handle this kind of stuff, because half the time it's going to be able to get wiped away. You know what I mean? Or something's going to like, they'll come up with a sweet deal. Like one of my boys had 180 units get popped in Arizona. He was driving from Cali to Texas. They stopped him in Arizona, and he had to do like 3 years probation at the end of it all. And then he just called me up the other day, like a year and a half off of being on probation, being like, hey, I can smoke. I'm like, wait, you're already off probation? He's like, yeah, they let me off early. I paid everything. That's how when I knew probation, that's how it worked. You pay everything off. You stay on top of your shit. You do what you got to do. You got a good probation officer. You're probably going to get off. When I had probation, nah, that wasn't me. They put me immediately on random drug testing. And I could not stop smoking. That's why I went to prison, because I got caught up with coke and all that shit, moving it. And then they put me on like this like probation, like this drug probation for pretrial and all that. I fucked it up immediately. They got me into like a whole line of shit that I had to do before I finally got spit out at the end and walked a free man. But it was a fucking lot. And I never stopped smoking during that time. I don't know what it was in me. I was like, nah, man, I like smoking too much. I really don't care. But I grew up a lot in that time. I had a lot of different outlook on life. And when I got out, my outlook was completely different. I wanted to stick to weed. I loved weed. I wanted to keep on, selling it. And then I saw the market where it was at. Everything made sense. And here I am now. I'm shooting podcasts with one of the biggest fucking, podcasts in the cannabis industry. Shout out to y'all guys for even for real starts like doing this shit, man. Like y'all guys are doing y'all's freaking thing. You guys are definitely inspiring a lot of people.
People don't see the back end, lugging 14 bags that weigh about 80 pounds a piece everywhere around
I watch y'all while we're trimming.
Trimming. It's either we're listening to Burn, we're listening to Wiz, or we're listening to First Smoke of the Day. That's typically the trimming like mood that we're doing, because it's him and I. We're the only trimmers on our shit, so we just get there. He gets his little half, I get my little half, and we go to town, man.
Trim till we can't anymore.
No, yeah, it's really an all day fucking process, but we have a good time, especially out there on the property. We'll probably whip up something like some old cowboys or some shit like that. You know what I mean? And cool little experience. I like what we got going on, bro. It's gonna be sad when we like grow like past our like level, and we're gonna be looking back at these days, and we're gonna be like, damn. Remember when we used to like fucking get the campfire going and throw some loins on and like be trimming and shit like that? Like those are gonna be the good times for me, man.
Yeah, because you'll look back and you'll be like, remember when we could actually trim this ourselves?
Yeah.
Because once it gets to a point,
once we get
it's impossible.
that's a good problem to have.
We're talking about growing right now, and we're like, after that, like that we're at our absolute limit of what we're willing to trim ourselves. Like if like anything else, we're like, we're definitely getting trimmers. We're definitely gonna like source out and figure out family members or trusted loved ones to get out there to put their asses to work.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to work with weed. I don't know until you fucking trim. until you start trimming.
That'll break people.
Yeah, you're like, you want to come help me trim? They're like, oh yeah, and then they just don't want to say no.
One day.
Yeah, they don't want to stop because they're like, oh man, I don't want to disappoint him, but they want to stop almost like a couple ounces in. They're like, oh,
I used to always have people come, they'd do like a 5-6 hour day out of a 12 trim. And then they'd be like, yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. And that would be the end of it. That would literally, and that was across the board.
I don't blame them. If I had to like
brutal.
If I had to trim as a job, I don't think I really could, bro. Because I've never been really good at monotonous jobs that you have to sit down there and do. Like that's pretty much why I don't work. You know what I mean? That's like I haven't worked for anybody in the past like almost like 6-7 years now.
And I could almost not even trim anyone else's flower but my own, you know?
Yeah.
Because I put the passion and love into it. So, you know.
Yeah.
Would you say that having 2 kids really set your goals and your standards for where you want to be in line? That changed. It seems like that changed everything for you.
It did, man. Like my wife's 7 years younger than me. And when we had our first son, when we got pregnant with him, it was literally like first week of COVID when people were like flipping out, like clearing the shelves out, like total apocalyptic type of scenarios were going on. Like shit was going down. People were getting hit with the robberies, and like remember people were doing like all sorts of shit during that time, early 2020 or even late 2019. And my wife, she was like 19 at the time. I was like 25, 26, and she told me she was pregnant, and I was like, you know, I'm ready. Are you ready? I don't blame you if you're not, because you're still hella young. Like if you want to get an abortion, we can go and do that. And she's like, no, I want to be. I'm like, COVID's going on. I don't know about raising a baby in the apocalypse. No, let's do it. And I was like, fine, bet, let's do it. And then as soon as my son came out, both my sons, like the first thing I did was just cry and say how beautiful they were, covered in fucking ambiotic sac and just puffy and red. And I'm like, I love this little motherfucker. I'll go to death and beyond just to make sure that this kid has everything that he needs. And it did change everything for me, man. Like it changed everything, how I moved. It put that passion in me to start growing myself. I was like, look, I want to get to the point where like, I don't got to rely on anybody to make sure that they're doing good. Like as much as I love our relationship and whatnot, if not, God forbid anything ever happened to him, I'd be fucked. Like, as far as what we've built together, without one or the other, we're fucked. And I want to get to a point where him and I are not like, we don't have to have that be a scenario. He can be good and I can be good, and we can still do our thing together because we built this together. Like I don't want to bring in all these extra people and whatnot to like give their opinion on how shit should be run. If anybody comes in, it's because they're working for me or they're working with me to get elevated to the next position. That's what I'm doing with all my assistants. What I do with everybody who works with me, it's like, you're not going to be my assistant and just be my assistant. Like I can't pay you enough to make sure that you're actually like elevating. You know what I mean? Like you're going to be my assistant. You're going to get put on game. You're going to get your own people. You're going to get your own shit going. Then you get spit out. And, you know, and so far I have a good success with everybody like doing their own thing. And I got someone else to bring in. So I love it, man. Like I try to do the shit that Ryan and EK have done for me and just give back to the community. Like guys who have like brought a whole different perspective to the game for me to just give back to the community and make sure that my sons got, and my wife doesn't work. Like nobody works in my family. Everybody's taken care of. Like that's what I like live for. Like that was always like my dream, to like be like wake up and be by my kids like every day until I gotta send them off to school and like say bye to them. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to grow up like my father did, or my stepfather did, where like my real dad just wasn't around. My stepdad was around, but he always worked like hella long hours, 14, 16-hour days. So he wasn't really around like that. And when he would come back home, it would be like, all right, chill the fuck out. Dad's home. If we do anything, even fart in the wrong direction, like dad's gonna like fucking flip out because he just has like stacked with stress. So like that's how I grew up, man. I don't want like that same reality for my kids. I want them to be comfortable. I want them to enjoy life, and then when they come of age, I want them to understand like what drugs are, what are smoke. Because like my wife and everybody else asks me that. When are we gonna let the kids smoke if they want to smoke? I mean, man, honestly, probably like 17 or 18. I'm a little bit different.
It's treated like beer, you know?
Yeah,
like
you know what I mean? Like
you have a sip here and there.
Or like edible. Because like I started smoking cigarettes when I was 12.
Jeez.
Yeah, with my father. Like my father like got me doing a lot of real shit. My father's Russian, so it's just like on a whole different like mental capacity. You know what I mean? It's just like sees life differently. And I grew up thinking like that shit was like cool and all right. And when I became like 24, 25, I just like woke up one day and I was like, yeah, this is disgusting. And
You're gonna break the cycle.
And I kick nicotine altogether. I don't hit nicotine. I don't hit wraps or anything. I'm joint only.
We both.
Yeah,
we kicked that.
Yeah, we kicked all that shit, bro. So I don't want my kids growing around any of that. I don't want them to be smoking at young ages. I want them to like have a childhood, grow the fuck up, enjoy it, and then when the time comes, I want to show you how to grow, not just cannabis, but grow agriculturally, because it's something that I have a passion for, and I'm learning more and more from Bert. And you know, with the support system I have, is I want to be able to give my sons the same, if not better, support system, and give them the opportunity to have a craft that is really hard to learn and really hard to come by, at least as it is right now, the status quo of it right now. I want them to have that for them. So yeah, my kids changed my life a lot right now, man. Like I can say between me and this dude, me and Doja, Ryan, EK specifically, and the whole gang, it's not just Ryan too. There's like a whole bunch of people that like contribute to that. Even like the quality control, the QCing part, who test. I'm not on the QC team, but like there's like a small board of dudes that are like, yeah, like this is what we're putting out. There's a lot of great minds, man. So everybody that I'm working with right now, including my wife and my kids, has just completely changed life for me altogether. I got myself out of like that gangsterhood mentality, and I put all that shit behind me, man. Now I got some of the best friends people could ask for, and you know, I'm here right now. A lot of people figured out that I was going to be on the show, and I got a lot of flowers from places I didn't expect to get it. So it was cool to be here and have the opportunity to be here and talk with you guys on that shit. So I really appreciate that, man. Appreciate y'all guys for coming out to Texas and talking with brands that are actually from here and like including us, because you know it's really important, man. You gotta show people what else is going on in America. Cali's not the only like pop.
There can be fire anywhere. You just got to know the guy.
Yeah,
yeah. I think us coming from Florida, we realized that early on. And then at the same time, you don't know what you don't know. So every time we travel to a city, we end up,
we're pretty
we get
naive.
a lot of,
we learn and we put feelers out,
Yeah.
but everything happens organically.
Yeah.
We don't see people take it how they want to take it. Oh, I'm the biggest out here. What about me? We're not from out here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we only know what we know. Now, if we're naive the second, third, fourth, fifth trip, then yeah, it's on us. But the first couple times we come out here, you can't expect somebody to know what's good. It's on you to reach out. It's on you to connect. It's on you to communicate as a man or a woman.
You can't just be an
adult, you know, and shout out to you for growing up. I can relate as well. You know, where you leave that immature mentality behind and you grow into a man, into a person, someone that's going to own your responsibility and prioritize the things that really matter in life.
That was big
and to do that within this game is real big, because a lot of people haven't done that still to this day. And they act like children online on the internet and stuff. So it's cool to sit here with some real men from a real place that are really risking it, putting it on the line, but proud to do what they're doing and showing a good representation of what it should look like, and giving these young people something to aspire to. So shout out to you guys, man. I
appreciate that, man. Yeah, there's a lot to learn. There's lots of growing up to do, man. One of the like you said it best, when you learn to accept responsibility for your own actions, especially in this game. Like it's crazy that people like exist out here. They're like, let me go ahead and like give you my money so you can do all the work and I can make a little piece off of it. It's crazy how some dudes can have like that mentality, and then when losses happen, they kind of expect you to like make that up. And it's like, dude, like I was doing this to help you out. You know what I mean? Like you can't help everybody out in this game. You kind of like gotta, because not everybody's gonna own responsibility like that. You gotta like use a organic relationships form. You get to kind of like see what people are like, and I'm not afraid to tell somebody whether no matter how known or not they are, whether or not I want to work with them or not, because not everybody is good business. Not every relationship's going to work out. Like,
because whenever I first started growing, we didn't know we were going to be on this podcast or anything. It was just, I want to try and grow some fire, give some to you, you know, see what happens.
Yeah.
That's why it's true.
It just over the years.
Yeah.
Over the failures and everything, you know?
Yeah. If you have somebody like, you know, these guys coming in, you know, like y'all coming in, like I encourage people to, you know, reach out. It's one of the best things that EK taught me is that, you know, you gotta put yourself out there, man. You can't just like be an introvert off in the corner and be like, I'm this big trapper in my section, pick me. Like nobody likes to pick me ass dude.
Well, nobody's a mind reader. That's what you got to
Yeah,
communicate.
exactly. You gotta like talk to me like, hey man, like I know you're coming down over here. What do I gotta do to get on the roster? You know what I mean? Like
let's work.
Yeah, bet. You know what I mean? You gotta be mature about that shit. When you hit people up like, hey man, you didn't tap in with me. You gotta check in. Like, bro, you don't gotta check in. I don't know. Bro, I'm telling you, you're in Austin, bro. You're like, if it's coming from my mouth, you don't gotta check in a city like this, bro.
Bro, it was wild. When you say organic, we literally met someone at the event and then shot a pod at their spot. And like at a basically like a pop-up business. But
that was Sea Surf, right? Or
Surf's Up.
Yeah, Surf's Up.
Bro, that Little Mexico spot.
Little Mexico, bro. Y'all saw that spot? That's crazy.
That's where we shot.
I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see that episode.
Fresca Love.
Yeah, I got to meet Little Mexico.
All that shit's organic, though, is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Super organic.
Yeah. That's why I love going to the Houston event. Even though, like, I got to meet a lot of, I got to lock in with God Holly. Shout out to bro. He's out over here. Got to lock in with Fidel. Got to lock in with Little Mexico. Little Mexico. Shout out, man, bro. I just met this dude, but this dude just was showing me his spot. And I'm sure y'all guys saw. We all did see the spot.
Super connected individuals.
If you don't have a spot, if you go and look up Little Mexico on IG and you see his little cannabis dispensary spot, if you don't have a spot like that in Texas or in America, don't hit me up trying to have me go to your event, because I want something like that. I want something that's super professional. Someone poured their heart and soul and making sure that thing is like, it dude has like epoxy floors, AC, big like
put the candy paint on the floors.
Who does that? That shit's out there, bro. Shout out to bro for doing his thing, man. It was
really dope.
That's why I appreciate y'all guys for coming down here, because it gives me an excuse to show up to Houston and Dallas, as I'm sure y'all saw.
That's why we did this tour. We wanted to check it out.
Yeah,
I love Texas. We're from Florida.
Yeah,
I'm from Florida too.
Yeah, it's the same. If you think about it, it's super similar. So I like to do shit against the grain. Everybody's telling me not to do something. I'm like, we're gonna go do it.
Yeah,
and that's what we do. And
we're built different. Like he's told me before, you know.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like we're doing it different, bro. There's been times where
we like to go down roads less traveled, and that's what we're doing out here with this tour. And watch, you'll see more people trying to do Texas tours and shit like that. And by then we'll be rounding, third base on the way to the next places and shit. And what we're doing is building a community where everyone can come out. I have my homies from New York, from Atlanta, from all over come to this shit, because everyone wants to see what's up with Texas.
Yeah,
everyone wants to connect, chill, see what the word's been about. A lot of people migrated here after COVID. So it sparks the curiosity of like, man, what's going on down there? I want to see what's good. And we know that our second round and our second trips will be even better, because now we've established relationships where we know who to hit up. We know where to go. We won't be hitting Terry Blacks. We'll be hitting, Brothertons and shit. And fucking, we'll know what's good,
let's go grab something. Yeah, don't worry, guys. I got you. I'll take care of it. Take care of the bill, all that shit, man. We're gonna go. I want to make sure that anybody comes down to Texas, if they know me or like would like to do business with me or anybody else, the
hospitality is gonna be there.
Yeah, hospitality is big, man. Like you gotta make sure that you do that. And if you're trying to be a host to anybody, make sure we're about to shit on my spot. I had a charcuterie board. I got like all this shit ready for just make sure y'all guys were ready and take care of. If you're not willing to do that for your people, whether you're a host or someone who's visiting, and play your part and do what you gotta do to the fullest, and just don't do it, man. You gotta make sure everything's organic. Don't try to force shit to happen. Like if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Because in this game, these little events is not what makes our entire brands. This is for the people. This is for the people to get to meet us, for them to get to introduce us. All the other shit in the background, that's the work that we all know it. That's the stuff that you got to worry about, bro. That's the stuff that you got to be making sure that, do I have the right genetics? Is this shit smoking? Am I willing to throw this fucking batch away if it's not good enough? Don't shoot yourself in the foot over a few fucking dollars. We're in this for the long run. That's what I tell him, bro. We're not going anywhere.
I'll be growing till the day I die.
And that's why I fuck with Ryan so much, because Ryan's brand is worth so much. And he's Ryan's I'm not walking away from this. You know what I mean? He's I'm staying. Someone can come offer me 20 M's. I'm not gonna take it. I'm not gonna walk away. That's the kind of passion that I'm trying to have. You know what I mean? I'm trying to stay on this lifelong. I want my sons to be forming the next sector of this business and shit like that. I want them to be on it because they want to. If they don't want to, cool, bet, fine, whatever. But I want to create that outlet. I don't ever want to sit back and think that I'm this big baller. That's why I try to stay away from jewelry and whatnot. my cars are where I spend my money at and shit. People know that, but like I try to like, for me personally, I like to not see, like I keep rubber bands on, man. Like I keep it old school. Like you gotta keep that motivation. You gotta stay hungry until you finally find yourself into a point where you're like, okay, I can walk away and still get a residual income and still have like a very big part of the creative like portion of it. If you can do that, whether you're cultivating or just trapping, like that's when you can able to walk away from this shit. But I do definitely feel that everybody should either create a passion for themselves where they don't ever have to walk away, or at least create an outlet for them to like a soon step back, because the shit hasn't been forgiving to people who've been in it for a long ass time for the most part. There's a lot of players that can make it and they've done their thing, but in my best opinion, you just got to stay on top of like the whole network, how the game is being played, what people want, what strains are out, all that, man. The economy, you know, the section that you're in, where you're going to go at next, all that stuff has to start coming into play now. Everybody has to start stepping up their game if they want to be successful. And me personally, I love it because I know we're hungry. Yeah. We're fucking hungry, dog. We're gonna take every step that we got to do to make sure that we're on top. And I wish everybody the best of luck. And it's all good sportsmanship over here, but respectfully, we feel like we're on top of the game because of how we're doing.
I feel like whenever we are able to expand and get bigger, we feel like we're going to be dangerous at that point, you know?
Yeah. Like when we started growing, I've noticed a lot of people want to start doing the same thing in Austin. I had homies that were out here already growing themselves and they're doing their thing. But then once we all started linking, and then people started to see like, oh damn, these guys are not only getting like recognition, but the product that they're putting out is actually really fucking fire. So maybe I can do that myself. So I see a lot of people starting to grow themselves out here, and they inbox me, talk with me about it, and they're like, hey, what's up? And it's funny because they're like, I got a little sprout going. I'm badass. And I'm like, oh, damn, how old is that? Like, it's 10 weeks old. And I'm all like, oh, shit. I was like, damn, homie, like, you work on it a little bit, but you got the right motion. I like it.
You got to believe in yourself.
Yeah, you got to believe. Bro,
you really have to believe in yourself.
How many times have we been like, man, even I've had to talk to him. He's like, man, like, I don't know, bro. Like, there was like one time we had to tear down a room like 3 times back to back to back. You know what I mean? It was just like, damn. Like I'm like, nah, bro, just do it.
We had a mold like, and insect like 2 runs back to back.
I was like, bro, you've produced stupid fire before. Like, don't give up. Like, whatever money's losing, like, just talk to me. We'll figure it out, bro. Like, I don't want this to stop. Like, because if you stop, you're gonna lose all the experience that you ever had, and you're gonna lose all the potential that you still have to gain. And I'm gonna lose like that same token. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna be on the same boat with you. Yeah, that's why I kind of like it's a good relationship we have, because if it's like I said earlier, if he's not going 100%, if I'm not going 100%, the boat's not going to go 100%. It will sink. Yeah. It will go down. So it just keeps us both on our toes. But I'm really proud of the product that we're putting out. And once again, man, I really appreciate everybody who has came through to my shop personally. I really appreciate that trust that you put inside my brand. And to the people, I want to make sure that I'm always doing right, y'all. And me and my boy, we promise that we're going to be out here doing the best that we can with our work. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's our passion. It's our passion to do so, and it's not that big of a deal. We have fun with this, man. I hit him up. I'm like, bro, we got this shit to pop next run. And like, stuff's coming down. He's like, what are we gonna pop next? It's like, okay, cool. You start like brainstorming and shit. It's cool.
I love it. Cannabis is like one of the most interesting plants to grow. You know, from seedling to veg to flower. And then you have to dry it and cure it. You know, it's a whole process. And
shout out to Canucks too. Canucks grow.
Yeah, I kind of just grow with his style.
That's people ask me.
I mostly watch, and the style that I grow is really simple. You know?
Yeah, it's not
like
crazy.
Anyone could do it. It just you got to have the dedication, and you got to be disciplined with it.
Green thumb
and being in tune with your plants. And you don't get in tune with your plants until you get your hands dirty and do a few runs, you know, and learn from it, you know.
Draco's from here. You said you're from Florida. How'd you make your way to Texas?
I moved to Texas like in 3rd grade.
Oh, okay.
So I've been here for a while.
What part of Florida are you from?
Tampa.
Oh, yeah.
He's from Sarasota.
I'm from, yeah. I know all about that. Gulf of Mexico side's the strong side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what they say about if you're born in Florida, you know, you're probably kind of crazy. So.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
Damn straight, man. Yeah, definitely ain't all there. We're all mixed bags of shit at best, for sure.
Yeah, indeed,
You know?
indeed.
That's funny. Nah, shout out to I know a lot of dudes.
Yeah, you guys got any shout outs and shit?
Man, honestly, man, I do want to give a couple shout outs. Personally, I've mentioned these dudes a lot, but Ryan and EK, like,
Mhm.
you know, if y'all guys watch this episode, I want to let y'all know that I really appreciate everything that y'all have brought to my life. It's helped my family out a lot. EK, thank you for believing in me when a lot of people didn't. And, you know, you stuck by my side. And Ryan, thank you for always having faith for me, for like running your brand out over here and just letting me work with it, let me run with things, and always picking up my phone when it matters most. So I really appreciate those dudes. You know, shout out to
the Weed Tube, all of them, you know, putting their information out there.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
self-taught, you know, just looking up videos, different forums, you know.
Yeah, shout out to the whole
You have the internet. If you can't succeed nowadays, you have the internet right there. You click a video, you watch it, and it tells you what to do.
Yeah, no, shout out to all the weed YouTubers that teach everybody step by step. Shout out to Frenchy Cannoli's family for keeping his name alive and making sure that people still have an outlet to learn from some of the best hash makers that the world's ever known. And that's personally who I like to use for my washing. I'm starting to get down to washing within like the last year and getting better at processing hash. Between Canucks, Frenchy Cannoli, and some other dudes out there, man, like a shout out to all y'all guys who put y'all's faces, the names, even when times are really illegal and you don't really know what kind of legal repercussions you're going to get. You take the risk, man. And we're starting to see like a lot more reward than risk. So shout out for that to happening in the laws right now, man. Like there's a lot of good stuff going on in the world. And I just appreciate everybody in the cannabis industry that is doing their part to keep it true, keep it organic.
It's only a matter of time before it's legal.
It's right there, man.
Like,
I know it's right.
Texas
we're
and
gonna wake up one day. We're gonna wake up one day, and then it's gonna be like America just gone fully federally legal, and then not too long after that, I really think that the world is going to kind of come to like this understanding. There's still going to be some countries that are like off of it, but I feel like the whole Southeast Asia is about to start popping off. I feel like Europe is going to go stupid. I think Europe is going to probably be like one of the biggest markets as a whole, just because of like the culture, how like finer things have always been in Europe. Like people are going to make it happen. You know what I mean? If you have like good fucking genetics and fire weed out there, it doesn't matter how much it's going to like cost. London and all of Europe have proven like they do not care. They will buy it. New York is like that too. I feel like Texas is kind of going on a little broke side right now. They're like, as far as civilians go, but I've never seen it like that in New York, when you have like people that are civilians pulling up in like lamb trucks and cashing out like on a couple pounds per perso. I'm like, what the
real bread. I mean, it's
real bread. Like they say Texas has money, and I agree, but it's like a different type of money. It's like generational. Yeah. They spend it differently. When you go up to New York or you go to LA,
fast money.
It's fast money, dog. I've met
so many people in a small area.
How many 24-year-olds you met that are like freaking millionaires, dog, that are on top of the world, their brand, or like even younger than that. And I'm like, damn, bro, like shout out to you, because I was like just getting out of prison when I was 24. I fucked all that shit up because I was doing what I was doing. I felt like, honestly, if the cannabis industry would have been at where it's at now before I got locked up, or even if I just would have been a little bit more involved in it and knew a couple, if I would have knew like maybe Ryan and his people back then, I feel like I would have been, good out here in Texas, because around the time he was trapping out here in Texas, I was just getting started on myself. So if I would have had connects like that, I felt like maybe it would have been more of a possibility for me to just focus on that 100%. But like, it wasn't really like that in Texas. If you're making money as a dope man, especially in Austin, you was probably slinging cane, or you're drank whatever pills, all that. I used to get Xanax from Mexico for like stupid cheap that were actually really fucking good, like really good quality, snapped, all that. You know what I mean? They passed all the fucking quality control tests.
There was like a bar baby problem.
It was. It really was. I remember me and my brother, bro. We were like that too growing up. My brother's 5 years younger than me, man. We grew up like, fuck it, we're gonna sip some drink and pop some bars, and that's just what this culture was. You didn't really think too much that like, oh, this is like bad for my body and all that shit. It wasn't until like, a lot of Pimp C died. That shit was like crazy. A lot of artists recently have died. Almost everybody that was big in the Texas SUC clique is dead from like syrup or some drug problem. You know what I mean? Or just a cause from using the drugs and all that. Because when you get on that syrup, bro, and you on it, like you can put on weight real fucking quick. And you get on them pills like that, your tolerance goes up. And I remember back in the day, we would hit on scripts for scripts real easy. You just go in there and tell them some simple bullshit like, tell them you hurt and you want some pain, they'll give you some Vicodin, and you're like, oh, I don't take pills, and you're like an oral solution. They're like, bet, and they give you some like liquid hydrocodone, and you're boom, you got syrup right there. Get yourself a half pint of syrup right there for like next to nothing. Super easy, man. We was doing that I say kids, but we were like in our early 20s and stuff, still doing that shit, man. So it kind of changed really in like the last 10 years. Like the drug culture has really kind of like turned it off for me. Like I don't like all the other shit. So much fake shit. Fentanyl is a dangerous ass drug. It's so crazy how that's even like a fucking thing. Everything's.
I think weed is the best high.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of all the highs, really.
I think that if we would have been readily available on the quality standards that we have like now, then like the crack epidemic may have not become a thing. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just feel like back then, or even like nowadays, like if people don't have access to good medicine,
they have a bad first experience smoking some Mid or Reggie out of like a can or something.
Nah, for real. And then they wind up like using meth. They're like, oh, I don't want to smoke weed. I had a bad experience. And they're fucking smoking meth.
Weed sucks, so don't do nothing.
What? Two things. It's about who you're around, and that's what you said. Like, if I would have been around these guys, I probably would have done this differently.
Yeah,
it's so much
all about how you come up.
Yeah, and then it's also about like the big thing with weed versus a lot of people that have other addictive issues use weed to curb them using something worse.
Yeah.
They have that in them. It's this itch that they always have, but they can easily soothe it with cannabis versus letting it build or trying to find another way and it breaks out. And yeah, it's huge, man. That's why the pharmaceutical industry is against it.
Even more specifically, like rosin, like hash rosin, like good hash rosin, like this, like I feel like even more so than cannabis. If we would have just had shit like this available like 20, 30, 40 years ago, a lot of the drug epidemics that we know nowadays wouldn't be a thing. Because when I show people dabs, like they'll like especially like older heads, they're like, nah, I don't like it. And I'm like, why not? And they're like, well, this one time did it. I'm like, let me guess, you hit some fucking shatter off of a hot nail. You know what I mean? Like, let me guess. That's
your lungs out.
You coughed your lungs out. You did a scorching hot dab. I'm like, okay, now let me put you on with this. And they're like, damn. I remember when I showed my stepdad this shit. He asked me for a little bit of flour, and I was like, yeah, for sure, you can definitely get some, but you have to take a little fucking booger of some hash rosin. And he was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, set him up, and I did it, and it was it's just imprinted in my brain. Like I forget shit really easy with that. Like it's just like imprinted in my brain. Like my stepdad just like coughing his ass off, just like completely blown away by how potent and how quick like the high gets you and how tasty it is. He's like instantly just started like naming off all the shit as if he was a connoisseur. My stepdad's not even really like a smoker like that, but he was all like, oh my God, like it's flavoring.
I love it.
I was just all like, see, like this is like the shit that will turn anybody into like a fucking pothead and just like, oh man.
I love it when you get a dab and you tear up a bit. That's how you know.
Bro, like shit. Shout out, man, if I just shout out any cannabis or rosin brand right now with the real cannabis, Chris. I don't know if y'all heard of him.
Yeah, I have. He does the thumbprints, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. That's why I started over here in Austin. I stay away from like, all the commercial ones that are popping right now just because so many people are moving them. Like shout out to the like West Coast Alchemy, who Phil Gooding, all the Water Boys, all those dudes. Like they're doing their thing on a big commercial level, just kind of like how Doja is on like a consistent, like good fire level. It's like a certain standard. It's like Hennessy, like I say, you know what I mean? It's like, it's really good, but it has like a certain standard to it that like kind of like sets the tone for everybody else. That if it's not better than this, then it should not cost more by any means. And then when you open up someone like Real Cannabis, Chris's shit, it's like, damn, have you seen the thumbprints?
Yeah.
Yes,
I've actually smoked some.
Yeah. That's why I keep some at the crib, man. And
there's some talented artists out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Where you're like, damn, like it's inspirational to like our brand, where it's like, okay, I want to invest in like a fucking freeze dryer. I want to invest in all this equipment, and I'm figuring out how much all this shit is, and I'm like, damn. But I want to do it. I want to be able to like, just like Perry said,
spend money to make money.
You gotta like stick your neck out there to do it, man. And then I want to start learning how to make piatella. I was chopping it up with Fidel. He was like telling me, like lacing me up a little bit, and I'm like, okay, I think I can get that done, man. I think we can get that
at the event you were talking to him.
Yeah.
See, and that's something
you
that
saw how Patsy was.
Yeah, and that's something that I want to show people too. Is like the conversations you get to have one-on-one is not the same in a DM.
Yeah,
when you connect with someone, you're sitting there talking piatella with Fidel. Like that's not going to happen too many places. You might be lucky to run into him or hit him at a pop-up, but to be able to
conversate,
dude, what's that worth?
Exactly. That's why I honestly thought y'all's like event prices were pretty fair because it was like, damn, like shout out to y'all for security. Like I mean, personally as a vendor, like I fucking hate that when I go to an event and I pay these dudes like even a couple $100 a table, even if it's that much. It's like, what am I like? You have 40.
The problem is, and I don't mean to cut you off, they're letting 50 or 100 vendors come.
I was just about to say
we got 8 to 10 hand-selected vendors that are strong relationships we've built over long periods of time. And then we say no to the other 100 people that are begging us to come. So the price has got to be higher for that.
Supply and demand.
That's the whole point. It's why the price is higher on Doja flower and Doja products, right?
Okay.
Because he's not getting the packs that are hitting at 12, 13, 1400. No. He's getting from top growers that are growing strains that don't yield. They don't produce crazy. They're hard to grow. You know what I'm saying?
Finicky.
Like all these different factors go into it. So it's like, this is a premium product.
Yeah.
This is something you're going to pay more for, but you get a better experience. You're going to get your money's worth. And if not, it wouldn't continue going on. Nobody would fuck with it.
I was just going to say the same thing about the vendor thing too. And so you're good on cutting me off on that. And I'm just wanting you to know, bro, that I've never made the type of money I had on those events that any other event that I've gone to. New York, whatever New York showed us out. I'm gonna let y'all know. Yeah. And when we had to do that one in Houston and it didn't fall through, and we came out in Austin, we made an event happen literally next day. We hit up Marky D, top promoter here in Austin that Ryan introduced me to. But Marky D made shit happen, bro. We got into a fucking big ass warehouse for that he does for his production company and shit, and we sold out. And Ryan was telling me he did like LA, like Hollywood event numbers. Like everything that we got, he sold out all of his stuff. I had stuff that I brought. I sold out everything. I'm calling my assistant to run back to the trap to grab everything else in that motherfucker and bringing it back. And we're still like just clearing it off. Like off of like a 1-day surprise trip to Austin. Like he was going to be in Houston. Dudes from Austin drove up to Houston. Dudes from all over the place.
Yeah.
Drove to Houston just to go meet Ryan. And then he comes to Austin like the next day off the whim because shit didn't fly through. And all those dudes that went to Houston, if they didn't come from Austin, they drove past Houston to Austin just to make sure they got the next day. And it was a great event. A lot of like conversations were had. A lot of like connections were made. And just like y'all's event, man, like it's same thing, but just so like I appreciate not having a lot of fucking vendors, having great vendors because we all get to mingle within ourselves. We got to link up with LA Family Farms, Up the Hill Exotics, Fidel, God Holly. I got to link up with a lot of players just from this, and then get to bond more with the Oklahoma side of Doja and get to show them guys how we're doing it out here in Texas because most of those dudes are from Texas. It's funny we're talking about that. I'm like, why are you guys in Oklahoma? And they're like, because it's legal. we got a licensed facility. Oklahoma is one of the few states that you can like have a grow license and like kill a robber. Like if he like went on like gunned up and all that, and you had to like fucking shoot a robber with a gun and kill him, like you're gonna be straight out there. As long as everything's cool and all that, you're gonna be all right. There's not a lot of states that have that, man. So that's really cool. I can see why they went there, but they're like, as soon as Texas goes crazy, we're hightailing it back home. We're setting homies up with the grow over here in Oklahoma, and we're hightailing it back home. And I'm like, bet, like Texas is going to be the next move, man. And a lot of people say that Doja's been saying that for a while, that like Texas is like the next booming market, and I firmly believe it just because of how many people we have out here, from old, young, all that, man. I have so many customers myself. Like most of all my customers are breakdown civilians. You know what I mean? Those are the most loyal guys. When you're doing, I have a big delivery service, and it's become very profitable for me. And I don't do bulk deals because it's just like you're not making that many points off it. You got the loyalty is not really there. You know what I mean? Like when you're shopping bulk, you the shopper are always looking for the best price and best number and the best quality. And the minute that somebody else can bring that to you, and you don't have like a relationship like this going on or something like that, you're gonna walk away. I haven't dealt with nobody else outside the shit that we rode and these dudes. My money doesn't go nowhere else. You know what I mean? I bring millions to the trap a year, so it's like the relationship's worth it. You know what I mean? For both of us. It's I'm out here doing my best to represent a brand that I didn't start, but I have all the comfortability and rocking with them and being on the team and making sure that they got everything that they need down over here whenever they touch down and the customers have the freshest flower. The cherry biscotti, got it here the next day. It dropped, boom, ship a flyer out there, go grab that shit, bring it back. That way customers can be like, I'm getting this shit, the freshest of the fresh, all that good jags, all the boxes are going to check. I can guarantee it to you. It's worth it to you to spend whatever the hell I'm charging on a personal amount for you to grab it, because you don't got to worry about nothing else. That's why I like busting on people. That's why I do what I do now. And I really don't see it divvying too much unless like the growth allows it. Because right now we have so much going on in the grow, trying to expand it, and the delivery service, it's a full-time fucking gig. You know what I mean? I stay tired with it. Traveling these last couple months, I've really just kind of taken a toll on me, because it's like I travel a lot to Cali, but now it's like I'm going East Coast, West Coast, back home. Hours are getting thrown around like all over the place and stuff. You're just tired. Then you want to spend time with your kids. Like, shout out to all the parents that trap that can't be around their kids and want to, because I feel blessed as hell that I can do that. And there's a lot of dudes that I know that love their kids to death. Even chicks too, that love their kids to death. They do a lot, and they don't have custody, or for whatever reason, or they're not around them as much because they work so fucking hard. Like, shout out to everybody that does that, man. Like, I have a big respect for you, and I hope that you and your kids can like really unite one day and run it the fuck up together. You know what I mean? Because that's what my dad's wanted for me. I ran it up with my dads, my stepdad, and my real dad. Whether it was selling drugs or working in a catering kitchen, but I ran it up with both my dads. So I want my kids to run it up with me. I want this to be a family business. I want to put everybody that wants to work with me on. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that everything is there, and I encourage everybody else to kind of do the same thing. Give back to the community. Don't take too much from it. Just take what you need, man. Like, you take too much from it, a lot of bad things happen, man. A lot of people will get eyes on you. I've lost friends through this shit here in this very city. It's the same city I say is sweet as hell. I know friends that passed away here over traveling way too hard and having way too much eyes and attention on them because they're just going too hard. It's just the best way to put it. They're going too hard. They can't watch every fucking corner. You know what I mean? And then the one corner they didn't watch. Right there, you got to be careful, man. You got to spread yourself. You know, and Ryan's taught me that a lot too. You know, you got to put your attention where it matters, because everybody, the bigger you get, everybody wants to hit you up. Like you said, you come here to Austin,
gotta learn
Texas.
how to say
I'm
no.
sure. I bet y'all guys got thousands of brands hitting y'all up. Hey man, boom, boom, boom. You know, you're like, sorry. It's like when I hit y'all up about being a vendor, y'all, I was like, it is what it is, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
I mean, it is what it is, right?
you gotta learn to say no.
Exactly. You gotta learn to say
The most
no.
successful people I've ever been around say no more than anybody. They don't say yes to everything. So that's just life and growth. And you got to fucking double down on yourself. And that's what you guys are doing today, man. We appreciate that shit. So shout out to you guys. Shout out to you, Draco. Shout out to you, Bert. We're fucking rooting for you guys, and we'll keep connecting, man. You guys got to come out to the family reunion. We do that every year, where we get all the former guests on the show, connect with all the fans of the show, and we all get together and break bread and connect, and you know, keep the movement alive, and collabs get birthed, connections get birthed, and that's what this community is all about, is just the growth of the culture and the progression of the culture as we step into these new realms and new ways of doing things, and as it continues to spread globally. Because this is definitely a global movement, and the plant connects people all around the world. And anybody that's ever done any traveling knows that to be a fact. You know, you smoke, I smoke, you come together right away, you know? So it's real dope. It breaks down barriers. Doesn't matter where you're from, you know, doesn't matter your background. None of that shit matters at the end of the day. If you're a lover of cannabis and the other person is too, well, then you're going to connect for sure. So that's what we're all about. And that's what we're going to keep pushing, man. And you guys keep fighting the good fight, repping for Texas, repping for Austin. We appreciate you guys having us out here. And we'll be back for sure, man. This Texas tour is something special. We got the event tomorrow night. We're going to end this shit with a bang, baby. You know what I'm saying? And we're looking forward to it, man. Austin's been dope so far. I'm really vibing this. I like Dallas a lot, but as we drove into Austin, I was like, I'm feeling the vibe already. I like it out here a lot.
It's a vibe, man. It's definitely a cool spot to chill out. Have y'all been to the Domain yet?
Not yet. No.
Yeah, we'll go to the Domain. Anytime y'all are in Austin, man, please tap in with me.
Absolutely.
It's cool. It's understood. But if you ever need spots to go at, chill. I got extra cars, extra spots to stay at. Shit, man. I like to pride myself on being a good host to people. I want to make sure y'all guys
That's that Texan in you, man.
hell yeah, Southern hospitality.
saying?
Southern hospitality. That includes
Yeah.
I get to carry a strap no matter who the fuck you are. You know what I mean? So I make sure y'all guys are good. Make sure y'all guys are good out here and get to catch the vibe as much as you can out here. There's so many beautiful spots here in Austin. I can't wait to show y'all guys, man.
Where can
Let's
people
get it.
connect or reach out?
To me?
Yeah.
Oh, Instagram. Yeah, my brand's Smokestrong, but you can reach me on Instagram with dojadraco. Burke, he kind of stays off the whole social media part. He's in the garden and doesn't really put himself out there like that. So honestly, surprised he came because showing the face out there, I was like, I kind of had to coach him up, man. But yeah, if you need to tap in with me and get some of our medicine and just chat with me or figure out how we can build something, dojadraco on Instagram. And yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate
You come out to Austin, tap in with my man Draco. And Burke, you boys keep doing what you do, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys.
Fighting a
Thank
good
you.
fight for real. We're rooting for you boys, man. You already know what it is. It's first smoke of the day, and we're out with another one right here in Austin, Texas, baby. Let's go. H-Town, let's go. Peace. Hey, stop. Before you leave, roll up another one. We got more episodes just like this. Click right here.